morning.
Thank you all for coming out to be a part of your local government. The process this morning, whether you're here to play a part or here just to observe, we're certainly happy to have you all here this morning. Thank you so much for coming. We've got pretty full agenda. We're going to try and be timely but thorough as we move through this agenda this morning. Certainly happy to see our Justice Court Judge, Judge Howell. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to ask Supervisor Carver, if you don't mind, would you lead us in a word of prayer?
Yes, sir. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity to gather this morning as leaders and members of this community, Lord, to decide things in the near future. Lord, we thank you for each and every person here represented. Thank you for the Randall family represented here this morning, Lord. Just be with us. Let us just speak with humility and kindness. Show mercy and grace, Lord, and just let us be centered around you and make good decisions on behalf of the citizens that elect us. Lord, we thank you for the seasons. We thank you for everything that you give us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Supervisor Carver. Next item on the agenda, we've got our citizens comment period. This is the time that any citizen can come before the board for up to 3 minutes with any issue that you might have concern about. So we're now open with our citizen comment period. Good morning, Mr. Turner.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone else. My brother next to me, when he gets the taxes for this year, I hope he don't hit the city. But now that me and Marvin will have to explain to him about the taxes. I hope that he don't have to make a trip to stop. We got to pay the taxes, but we don't need to be mistreated. We don't know what that is in the law, but we paying people to serve us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. We certainly appreciate those comments. Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Would there be another that would like to appear before the board? Good morning.
Good morning. Who aren't you nice? Gosh, you're such nice people. Do you mind if I stand? I was always taught it was very rude to turn your back to people, and also that way I know they're not making faces at me. Good morning, Candy Creasing. I'm here with OSERVS this morning, Board of Supervisors. What happened to the formal county attorney? Dedicated department reps. We're here on a couple of occasions. First,
Let me stop you before we get going. This is the citizens' comment period, so I'm going to ask the board if it's going to be okay to allow you, because it looked like your presentation is going to go more than 3 minutes.
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not. Because enough you're saying something nice. 3 minutes and
Absolutely. Okay.
So,
thank you.
anyway,
but the board is in agreement. If you
let's
need.
start it now.
Okay.
Okay. First, I want to commend Judge Leanne Turner. Last week, we had the meeting for Family Support Network. Most of us attending thought it'd be 30 to 40 people there. There were 20 tables with 8 places each. 160 plus people were there to work together for a home for every child. There were 76 agencies that have a presence in this community there, each one with the same mission Judge Turner was speaking about. Her presentation was concise, it was informative, it was factual, and at the end, she had hit the target that everyone was looking for. Y'all need to be very proud. This is going to be a quarterly type meeting, either in person or on a Zoom conference, and everyone is there to make a difference for our children and our families. So again, something to be proud about and start going on Tibbial County. Secondly, we have a crisis going on. It's a national crisis. And usually I come to talk about this, the post and to brag, but I needed to speak now. September 9th will be OSERV's 3rd annual First Responders Blood Drive. The crisis, which is a national crisis, according to the NPB July 29th report, Mississippi blood supply has reached critically low levels as the national shortage continues to strain hospitals and donation centers across the state. The American Red Cross has declared a national blood crisis for only the second time in its history, and organizations in Mississippi are alerted. It's going to take, they feel like 250 donations a day to get back to where all the shelving will be filled again. North Mississippi blood services are having to import from California, from Oregon, from Texas, blood units to meet the demands. And as I was speaking to someone last week, they said, "In that foreign blood, are we going to be safe?" So it's not Mississippi blood. They're not real sure about this. We had a luncheon kickoff last Monday with all 8 of the responder groups here, and what awesome groups we have competing this year. The one that gets the most votes wins either first or second prize. The Octavia County Sheriff's Department won it last year, but mainly we broke all records last year with 60 units. We're going for 80 units this year. It's September 9th. The first responders are already committed at the luncheon. They even shared in a camaraderie sense some secret ammunition they have that they will win, and I can't tell you what they are because I was vowed to. What happens in the back room and walk on stays in the back room and walk on. The Vitalant Blood Services, which hosts ours, is committed. It's 12 to 5:30, but they said they will stay as long in the night as needed to be so we can hit 80 units this year. And with each unit, that's 4 lives that can be saved. Also, Vitalant has designed a special shirt for our donors. It's a Patriots for the first responders. $20 gift cards to any of your choices of sources you would like. Also, a new thing they've offered and are doing, they're calling the donors once their blood is used to let you know where the blood is going. So we have the commitments. We need the commitments of the community. So if you're already committed to another place to be or medically restricted and can't be there, or you have trichophobia, there's another way you can be a part. Very importantly, you can go to our website, oserves.org, or I have some of these today, and share it with 10 people you know, and say, this is very needed. We have no blood. And let's get going. There's already a lot of blood drives going on, so some of y'all might have already given. Again, be one of the people that reach out to 10 people so we can hit our 80 units. Thank you, and thank you for your participation last year. Again, the Sheriff's Department. Oh, one other thing that's come up, talking about first responders. If y'all look in your new Starkville Home magazine that came out last week, page 42, look who's the first responder for these 2 issues. Yes, our wonderful Chief Deputy Johnson. He's usually standing right there, so I was going to embarrass him, but he's not there. But I've got some of the magazines here with that page marked. If anyone like one of those. Again, thank you. I know every one of you. Oh, Ms. Franklin, thank you for already sharing it. Y'all just spread the word, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And I'm taking the trophy with me.
Listen, you all do such wonderful work here in Octavia County and the city of Starkville. We certainly do appreciate it. I heard you call it, make the name of a term called trichophobia. I didn't know it existed, but I got it. I certainly do. But we certainly do appreciate all the work that you all do. Would there be anyone else?
Did I make it up in 3 minutes?
Not quite, but
I'm trying.
motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams to acknowledge report. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Good morning.
I was seeing if I could,
Would you state your name
I'm
first?
sorry,
Yeah.
my name's Jade McMahon. Jade McMahon.
Jay McMahon. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. McMahon.
If I could, request a private drive or the road to be abandoned at the end of this road on Livingston Drive,
What's that address?
462 Livingston Drive.
Oh, yeah, it's off Chris. It's off Chris. We have gotten with the county and, our county attorney and, on that and, Victor, do you have any issues with that?
No, we checked it out, we don't have any issues, it's far past any other residents, so we don't have any issues.
And had we had actually got to go to the end of that road anyway when we're,
Yeah, they've been grading it, but we don't have to go that far, they can turn around before they get there.
it's not gonna create a problem, and this is a dead end anyway.
Yeah, it's a dead end road, it's not gonna create a problem.
Okay, here, y'all, we're talking, what, 20 feet?
Yes.
All right, it's 20 feet, y'all, there's no, if they own the property,
This
everything.
just relinquishes the county from any
Yes.
property maintenance.
They're wanting to put a fence up is what this amounts to, and we couldn't let them put the fence up without letting us
We have,
abandon that road. So there's no issue with it, it's assuming that the board is okay with it, there's nothing wrong with us being able to do it, we so choose.
This needs to be a form of motion.
Yes.
It does, I guess you've got a legal description of the area.
I think we're gonna have to have something, were you able to bring any length and all that? Remember I told you to measure it?
I wrote it down, I can tell it to y'all.
If y'all will if y'all will pass a motion instructing me to get with Toby, get with GTPDD and get this thing written up properly, we'll bring it forward.
That would make it easier.
I'll make that motion that we get the description, drawn up to, what piece of the road on, to abandon.
Okay.
And tell that Chris 462.
462 Livingston Drive.
Livingston Drive.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Carver, that the board agrees to abandoning the legal portion of the road in question. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Would there be anyone else that would like to appear before the board? If not, we will consider this portion of the agenda as deemed closed. Next on the agenda, we've got our public hearing, for qualified resort status. We'll turn it over to County Manager.
Supervisor, 2 weeks ago, this board passed a public ordinance, qualified resort regulatory ordinance. And this thing has been posted in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks. It's been posted onto our website for those 2 weeks. And at this time, we're inviting any public comment as it relates to that ordinance. We have had no objections or written recommendations come into my office today.
Is there any comments coming from anyone here? If not, can we get a motion to adopt? Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor?
Right.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next on the agenda, we've got some presentations. And first up is our Ocklawaha County Humane Society. Good morning.
Good morning.
You all can introduce yourselves.
We need to come in front of this for the.
That's fine, yeah, whoever is gonna present can take a seat here at the table, or if you all are, I can pull your chairs up, or.
We'll just
Come
stand
on
behind
around this way.
Good morning to the Board of Supervisors and to all the guests here today. My name is Ryan Hander and I'm the Vice President for the Ocklawaha County Humane Society, and we're really grateful for the opportunity to come and speak here today. To my right here is Sarah Hankins. She's the shelter manager. We have Michelle Anderson. She's our executive director. And over here is Marty Howe. He's the president for the Ocklawaha Humane Society.
So thank you all for letting us come and share with you some of the great things that we're doing, and also some of the challenges that we're facing this year.
Joe didn't.
And there's also, you also have an electronic copy as well. So just a little bit about us. Of course, the Ottawa County Humane Society is very grateful for the partnership that we have with Ottawa County and the City of Starkville to be able to manage the Starkville Animal Shelter. In addition to managing the Starkville Animal Shelter, we also operate the OCHS Spay and Neuter Clinic, which is right next door to the shelter. We run the OCHS Express Animal Relocation Program, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute. And also we provide pet retention and community support services to pets and their owners. In 2025, we relocated a little over 2,500 dogs and cats out of the state of Mississippi. Since OCHS has been involved with animal relocation, we have moved more than 35,000 homeless cats and dogs out of our community to areas where there is a higher demand for adoptable animals. And we're very proud of that. We serve as a hub. We work with many different rescues and shelters all over north central Mississippi. It's just a great program that's basically been a great stopgap for us as we continue to get more animals in and fewer animals out of our shelter locally. Through the OCHS Spay and Neuter Clinic, we spayed and neutered about 1,900 owned dogs and cats last year. We also spayed and neutered about 200 or 300 more shelter and rescue pets through the clinic. Due to the growing demand and grant support from local rescues and national organizations, we expect that our impact for 2026 is going to be double that amount from last year. In addition to that, OCHS provided about 300 people with support services through our Second Chance Fund, our Community Second Chance Fund, where we provided pets with medical care. If a pet owner came to us and their pet had a catastrophic injury or illness and they were unable to pay for that, to get that animal treated, we stepped in and helped cover the bill so that the animal wasn't surrendered to the shelter. In addition to that, we've done things, provided services such as fixing someone's fence for an animal that continued to get out of the fence and continue to end up at our animal shelter. And then we also we provided food to people in need, dog food and cat food for people in need. Some of the challenges that we're facing right now is that our current approach is not reducing intake, and it's certainly not reducing costs. So our intake has largely remained pretty static for the last 4 years. However, everything else has gone up. Our costs have gone up, staffing has gone up, and the cost per animal has gone up from a little over $300 to now we're hitting next year, we'll be over $400 per animal to take care. And that's only a 30-day stay. So without some sort of change in approach, local taxpayers and our government will continue to pay more to manage the same exact problem. What we are asking today from the Ottawa County Board of Supervisors, and we did the same thing with the Board of Aldermen with the City of Starkville on Friday, is to come up with is basically a solution that addresses the problem before it gets there. And so we want to address the problem at its source. So in addition to the additional $5,000 we are asking for in our normal allocation to provide raises to our shelter staff, we are also asking the county to invest in a pilot program for spay and neuter vouchers for Starkville and Ottawa County residents. And basically what this would be is we're asking the county to provide a little over $36,000 in this first year. And we will provide $1,500 and for the county 750 vouchers for pet owners in our county to use at clinics anywhere in Ottawa County, veterinary clinics in Ottawa County to spay and neuter their pets. There are 2 tiers. The first tier is targeted toward lower income families. It's a $75 per dog, $45 per cat. The impact basically removes the financial barrier to getting their animals fixed and also preventing unwanted litters from being surrendered to the shelter. Tier 2 is basically a broad prevention. It's an opportunity for us to get the community in general involved and to create awareness of the importance of spay and neuter and the crisis that we're facing here in Mississippi with animal overpopulation and homelessness. One of the things that OCHS wants to do is we will manage it. We will absorb the cost of managing it. Any money that is allocated for this particular effort will go directly toward spaying and neutering the animals. And we will, of course, work with local veterinary partners, track the usage, and provide reports to the county as this succeeds. We anticipate that this is going to be extremely in high demand. We already at this point have a few hundred people on a waiting list right now who are waiting for significantly reduced or free spay-neuter surgeries in our community that cannot afford it. In the meantime, we continue to receive litter after litter of dogs and kittens that we are having to work very hard, and it's very costly to have a positive outcome. So investing in spay and neuter, of course, reduces costs for taxpayers and local government. Basically, you're looking at $375 on average per animal to take care of an animal for 30 days, as opposed to a one-time investment of $45 or $75 to spay and neuter that animal so it does not have any more unwanted litters. And then, of course, investing in spay and neuter makes communities safer. It reduces stray populations, lower white risk, and of course, prevents spread of rabies. And I will say, and other diseases, I will say that as part of this initiative, we will ensure that every animal receives a rabies vaccine that doesn't have that. Does anyone have any questions?
Appreciate the great work you all do. Appreciate you.
I just have to point out that the OCHS Spay and Neuter Clinic, we work very closely with all of our local veterinary partners in town. They're fantastic. We do offer low-cost spay and neuter. We get sick animals from time to time, and we do basic sick care, and we refer out to our local partners in town, and we are very supportive of them. And we're excited about this effort and hope that if you have any questions or concerns about what we're proposing, to let us know. But this is really, now is the time for us to get ahead of this as opposed to just reacting to the problem that continues to persist and will continue to persist if we don't do something about it.
I would say I'm pretty interested to see that, almost 2,000 spay and neuter surgeries, and that intake number hasn't really gone down dramatically. That just shows you the number of animals around here, especially as many as y'all export to other better homes. But we see them a lot. We all campaign. I didn't realize in the county how many vicious dogs are out there. But the amount of calls, this board's taking steps to try to address that. But the clinic looks great. We went out there a couple of cleanup days before, but it looks good driving by. I know y'all got a great reputation. My wife's in the field and loves each and every one of y'all and what you do. But I thank you because I know it is a need in this county and the city for sure. The one question I have was about the education piece. If you're going to give this to tier 1 or tier 2, how do y'all think you'll let people know that, to be able to get the free service or voucher system?
We have a pretty good outreach.
No, go ahead.
A lot of what we do is outreach, trying to get the community involved and let them know what's going on. So we do a lot of social media posts about everything that's going on and letting people know what is there, because if they don't know about it, it doesn't really do a whole lot of good. And to your point, with the transport and everything that we traditionally do, managing the shelter and the animals, and when they come in as strays, we fix them. We do the catch and release of stray cats. They're feral and they're not really adoptable anyway, but we'll trap them and pull them in, spay and neuter them, and then release them back into the area where they were. And that is very effective for cutting down population because they're not breeding obviously, but also they claim their territory. And so if you just remove them entirely from an area, more move in and then they'll keep breeding. So this actually slows it down and stops it. The same as, with any other, trying to protect livestock from foxes or coyotes or whatever. If you shoot them, more are going to come back in. But if you make so there's no more little ones coming in, then that slows down the population and keeps that area stable. And with what we're trying, we found that the most effective way to cut down on the overpopulation of animals and animal suffering is to spay and neutering. And most of what we have come in are from people that love their animals, love to take care of them, can't afford to, and just the concept of taking them to the vet to get them fixed. They don't know what numbers they're looking at even, but they're scared of any number because they're already financially insecure just to feed themselves. And so outreach is going to be very important, and we're going to focus on that a lot to let people know about it. But also, everything that we do kind of maintains a fairly stable status quo of overpopulation. But the only way to change that and attack the overpopulation part is to deal with the population that's coming up. And so that's where spay and neuter is the only real good way to cut down on the numbers. And the math, this is one that, when we're maintaining status quo, it just costs money and we're treading water. We're making the problem not get worse, but this is something that can alleviate the problem entirely. And like Michelle said, that every 30 days that we have an animal in, it's going to cost $300. And so that's $300 out of the budget. Or we can throw considerably less at it, let people know that they can actually come in and get their animal fixed. That way, that animal that by itself would cost $300 isn't going to have its 6 puppies or kittens that are $300 a pop, and then. So it's not just this one animal that's getting fixed. That one animal is easy enough to deal with, but its offspring makes it exponential. So, 300 times 12 is, I don't do math. What's it, like $3,600 an animal. So it quickly becomes a big problem, and that's where all the animals that we're sending off and dealing with, they're just getting refilled. And when we stop them from getting refilled, then we can actually start making progress on this. And progress on this actually saves a lot of money. Even if it costs money on the front end, it will come down. And on the accountings that we're talking about, doing for, as we're doing this program and showing how the impact and effect of it is, I think that'll show that. It will actually end up saving money on the overall budget, which of course allows us to do more and continue our mission to make Ocotillo County a good place for animals. Safe. And
I'd like to add
Mr. Carter's comment, it is campaigning in the county is risky. There's a lot of feral dogs that they'll sneak up on you and they bite.
Judge, some of them are feral. Some of them got owners that are just as big as the dog.
Well, on behalf of the shelter, we're not doing anything about the feral owners.
just to be clear.
We're just here for the animals. The other side of the wall is for the feral owners. Okay?
Mr. Carter, one of the neat things about this program is that the education's kind of built into it. Because we're working with all the local vets, we don't have to do all the footwork ourselves. We're going to be letting the local vets know that they can offer this as a voucher to their customers as they come in. So we're not going to have to do all the footwork ourselves.
Yeah, I thought about that. You could tell them, if somebody comes in now, obviously financially distressed, hey, use your voucher yet. And then I would check with the city and see about a sign that just says spay and neuter for free. Because it doesn't have to just be it's tier 1 and tier 2. But somebody, hey, if I'm going to go, I might as well get my first one, voucher paid. But yeah, you're right. The vet clinics is probably your single source resource to get the word out. Thank y'all for what you're doing.
Thank you. And also
I'd like to
pilot
add
programs.
that we get a lot of calls from outside the county, and I feel like this is a great opportunity for Ocotillo County to set an example for the counties around us. who say that, who do not have a shelter right now, or animal control, or any kind of assistance, who reach out to us and basically say, okay, if you can't invest in a $500,000, $1 million shelter, at least, you know, work with us and see that this program is doing well. You can at least invest in spaying and neutering your community pets. And so we look forward to setting an example for other communities and state.
Just a point of curiosity, what are the shelter costs up 5% annual? Is that food, staff cost? We didn't
Medicine,
nationwide.
food,
Medicine.
Food,
supplies,
medicine, our electricity. We don't
electricity.
get a deal on air conditioning.
Yeah.
So, you know, all that's more expensive for everybody, not just y'all.
Are y'all in need, I know at one point y'all were asking for blanket sheets, towels, but of course this was years ago. Are y'all in need of those sorts of things?
We're always in
Pretty
need of
much
those.
constantly.
Yes.
Yep. Bleach, paper towels, Dawn soap, and towels and sheets are a constant. That's I mean, we have if anybody wants to ever see, we have a list of needed items on our website all the time that people need.
And despite it being 120 degrees, winter is coming. They're gonna need it.
Well, we certainly do appreciate everything that you all are doing. Great time to be coming before us. We all know we're getting ready to start working on the budget, so
Thank you all.
definitely take that into consideration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Make a motion, we take that presentation under consideration.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next on the agenda, we got a presentation from Ottawa County Heritage Museum. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're missing somebody.
Corey is not here. He's on campus dealing with students.
Well, are you still on campus?
No, I'm retired. I retired at 24.
Well,
It's not just volunteer work.
Good deal.
To start off with, I just wanted to thank you for all your support that you've given the museum. Without your support, we cannot achieve our mission without your support, and it's greatly appreciated. My name is Derek Aaron, and I'm the Executive Director of the Heritage Museum. I was hired in January 2023 after retiring from teaching for 30 years. I was hired to assist with programming, maintaining the museum, working with volunteers, and increasing the visibility of the museum. We have a board of trustees who oversees the day-to-day management of the museum. Corey Gallo is the current board chair. We also have a Friends of the Museum board, which assists in raising funds for the museum. Stephen Canetto is the president of the Friends. Next page. This next page gives a little history of the museum. We are housed in an 1874 Mobile and Ohio Railroad depot. The museum contains exhibits related to Ottawa County, its heritage, and its people. Next page. I'm pleased to provide some information about the number of visitors to the museum over the last 4 years. You can see we had a large increase in 2023, and we're on track to see similar results in 2026. Previously, the hours were Tuesday through Thursday from 1 to 4 p.m. and was staffed only with volunteers. We now have extended our hours from 9 hours per week to 24 hours per week. We have 14 volunteers who work 3 hours 1 day a month. They are scheduled to work from 1 to 4 Tuesday through Thursday. Also, I can open the museum at any time for events, meetings, reunions, and workshops. Next page. Programs. Since I've been at the museum, we have had almost 1 program per month. You can see a list of them on your sheet. During 2023, we created a new presentation area with a maximum capacity of 50 people. It includes a new projector, projection screen, and audio system. Some of our speakers even included Mayor Spruill and Vice Mayor Perkins. Community engagement. We've been working to increase community engagement with our programs, using social media to promote the museum and activities and participating in other city programs like Pumpkin Palooza and the Brush Arbor Cemetery Committee. New donations and acquisitions. This next page shows a listing of some of the most recent donations and acquisitions to the museum. We're really proud of our bust of Cool Papa Bell that we got from the city. Exhibit updates. The MSU Museum Study class under the leadership of Lori Newenfeld began the process of reorganizing the museum exhibits and recreating the exhibit signage. Fall of 2023 is when this happened. We then hired an MSU Museum Studies student to continue recreating the exhibit signage. Now, for us, it's an ongoing process to recreate the exhibit signage. Temporary exhibits. We're excited to have a traveling exhibit at the museum in March. The exhibit was from the Southern Fiber artist who created the Mississippi Quilt exhibit. We developed an exhibit about the Need More community that was very popular. We also had a traveling exhibit about Eudora Welty, her poems and photographs, and in June we held a Walk Down the Aisle, a collection of wedding gowns worn by ladies of the community, which brought in 131 visitors. Friends of the Museum. Now I'm going to hand it over to Stephen Canetto to talk about the Friends of the Museum and the role they have.
Morning. The Friends of the Museum was established in 2008 as a means of, as another arm of the museum to assist in raising funds for the museum. We're a nonprofit organization and have a 12-member board. Of course, our mission is to raise money for the museum. And to do that, we have an annual membership drive, which we send out to our patrons each year, asking them for donations in support of the museum. This year, we had approximately 15 members and raised nearly $8,000 with that membership drive. The other ways that we raise money for the museum are some various events that we host. Over the years, we've hosted a variety of events. Some of you may have participated in those. The Denim and Diamonds event was held at the Country Club for many years. Over the last 4 years, though, we have switched to, I realized we weren't making enough money from the Denim and Diamonds because of the rising cost of hosting an event like that. So we switched to hosting two other events. One is the Festival of Trees, and the other is the Museum Miles Race Through History 5K run. The Festival of Trees, basically we are asking the community members and businesses to decorate trees that are placed in the museum. This year we have probably 15 trees that will be decorated and 10 wreaths. And we ask the community members to decorate those trees with their decorations. They come up with their own theme, and we provide the trees and the wreaths. This year we're pleased to say that East Mississippi Lumber Company has actually donated the trees to us as a way of sponsoring the museum, sponsoring this event. As a part of that, of course, the trees are, as I said, decorated, and we also have a silent auction as a part of that. So we invite the community members to come in and bid on the tree so that at the end of the event, they can actually take the trees home. As a part of the Festival of Trees, we also host a gala. And this gala is kind of the kickoff event for the Festival of Trees, and that's when we invite people in. We have a nice reception, and they can begin bidding on the trees and the wreaths. And pleased to say that last year we raised nearly $9,000 with that event. The other event that we host is the Museum Miles Race Through History. This is our 4th year for that. Last year we had over 125 people that have participated in it, so we're hoping it'll continue to grow. We're hoping to get to the status of the Frostbite that happens in January. But we raised nearly $3,000 with that event last year. This year our Festival of Trees will be held November 5th through the 8th, and the Museum Miles will be held February 20th. And obviously both of these events are designed to raise money for the museum, but the other big part of that is it's designed to raise the visibility of the museum, trying to get more people into the museum, to let them know about what we have and the types of exhibits, and to showcase the people and the places that Starkville likes to attend. At this point, thank you for allowing us to talk to you today about the museum. We greatly appreciate, as Derek said, the support that you provide the museum, and certainly will answer your questions if you have questions.
So I appreciate the good work you all do.
Absolutely. Interesting. I guess my first real knowledge of the museum was Cool Papa Mill.
Right.
That really highlighted the museum.
Definitely. If you haven't been to the museum, we'd love for you to come in and take a look at it. See the updates we've been doing over the last couple of years.
Thank you all. So anything else from any board member? Thank you all so much for
Thank you.
everything you do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for going.
Make a motion, we acknowledge the presentation, take the recommendation on that back.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next we've got our consent agenda. Is there any item that anyone would like to pull off? Motion to approve consent agenda.
Approve.
Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, we've got our tax assessor collector, Ms. Joellen Walker. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm here to present my certificate given by the Department of Revenue that my rolls were correct and they were accepted.
I have a copy of that for the record. If y'all would like to look at it.
Need a motion to acknowledge?
Motion to acknowledge.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations on your honor.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
I was gonna ask them if they're gonna make a spot for you in the museum.
Thank you.
Give that one to Sharon. She may need a copy of her.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got our county engineer, Mr. Pritchard. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Got a couple of updates for y'all. First is your state aid status of funds. Were you able to get that?
It's in the packet, yes.
I have a hard copy if anybody needs it. These. And I would notice that, just a little back up this morning, just pass over around. From April to May, your increase was about $71,000. From May to June, about 88. And from June to July, about 91. So your state aid road fund is increasing on the order of 10%, a little better per month right now. You've currently got $1,039,544 in your road fund. Any questions about that?
The road fund money, when you say we've got it in there, that's unobligated.
That's unobligated. You
Okay.
have that money to program and
Okay, that's what I was trying
we'd
to.
like to come up with a good creative way to spend it.
Well, I thought we had talked about that going from base repairs, things like that on Maple Bell Road.
It has been discussed, but I don't think I've had instructions to do that. As a state aid project, yeah.
We didn't have any, we hadn't made an official vote. I think the discussion was, we were trying to see how much of it we could get it built up, to help with the cost of those base repairs and repair. And see what else I was gonna need to put in there to get to that point.
Well, because we had a good bit of reconstruction in there now that we didn't originally have.
Right.
I would encourage.
Could that be money used on Tobe Henry Bridge?
No.
No.
No, it's a different one.
Different fund.
I'd like to make a motion to move ahead with the level construction base repair for, what is it, Douglas? Not Douglas Town,
How much is that?
Well, we can certainly allocate this to that, but we're gonna have to put some with it. So.
Well, this is just for base repair level.
Yeah, but I think the base repair and leveling was around $2 million.
It is, but I would suggest to you that if we have a motion to proceed with the plans, that we program the project for state aid, get that process started, and by the time that we develop the plan, we'll have a firm estimate at that time. Prior to advertisement, we can discuss
funding,
the balance of the funding. But I'd like to get the project started and get those funds obligated if we do.
Is that exhaust the whole fund?
Yes, that's what we're.
Sounds like a good project.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
So at the next meeting, I will bring you a program document, when we'll provide it in advance, like we did Toby Henry today, to set up a project for base repair and leveling on Macon Bellwood.
If you'd like, you can go ahead and send that to me, since this board has approved it. I will get, Board President Howard to go ahead and sign it, so you can get it down through state aid, and then we will ratify it at the next meeting. How about that?
We will likely show in the program some balance of county funds, just to get a placeholder in the document so we can get the project.
But that'll keep you from having to wait a whole another 2 weeks. If you can get it to me, we'll get it signed and we'll get it ratified at the next meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Briefly on some bridge work, Osborne Road, we've been in contact with Glasgow Construction. We're supposed to have those contracts in this week to get that one moved. Sherman Road Bridge, I would remind you that bids this week at 10 a.m. on the 20th. We'll take bids on this.
What is Sherman, 5318?
5318 is Sherman. Reed Road, which is 5322, and Nason Road, which is 5326, are at state aid for final review right now. There was a little increase in the box size on Reed Road, Marvell, and so that's all been sent back to them. We're waiting on Joe. I expect those to come out real quick. I have before you today, unfortunately, we had a critical finding and a closure on Toby Henry last week. We have before you today a program document to set up an LSBP program for Toby Henry Bridge that I would request that you execute.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Carter, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion
I'll
passes.
say one motion that way, guys. People are finding out about the bridge when they get to the bridge. If we could put signs on the highway or both end caps, the guy has to back a 40-foot trailer up 2 miles of that.
Supposed to be done now, if it's not,
It's done. It was done the day that we closed.
Yeah, but it's at the bridge. This guy said
No, it's at the highway.
He missed it.
Yeah, it's at the highway and it's in both places.
This is a couple of times this happened, and again, not to throw a rock at anybody, but 4:30 closure on Friday afternoon is kind of tough. When your letter reads closed within 24 hours, so it's sort of hard to muster the troops and get everything done in quick order. But with that program approval, we'll move Toby Henry up in the priority list because it is closed. You have 4 other authorized LSBP projects right now that we've done survey work on. We got started. They're not at state aid yet. That's A.W. Williams Road, Butler Road, Red Bank, and Scott. So, but because Toby's, if it pleases the board, because Toby's closed, we're going to bump that down to the front of the line. Other items.
What about the one in Cotton Bottom? In the new light on the road. Service list.
It's been what?
Oh, no, what's the update on this?
That one is, that was also the study.
Which one is that?
It's not. I don't see it. I'll get you a good number and get this. You have also today request for a board order on Moore High, Robinson Road. That is strictly to clean up some accounting that state aid. The board has already sent a check. The work's been done, but when they went through accounting that state aid, they actually need a board order.
They had to have a resolution.
To increase the project
packet. If y'all approve it, I'll apply it now, get this administrative stuff cleaned up.
It's just a confirmation deal that y'all authorized the increase in the project fund to put that third layer on it. So it's an accounting measure for the board.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
There seems to be some concern from some of the citizens as to whether or not there were actually a third layer applied. I'm sure it was, but they seem to think that it wasn't.
It's on there. And we're intentionally, I can have the conversation, but we're intentionally holding off on striking that road right now.
Okay.
To assess the performance on that way.
I think the primary concern has been is the color of the third layer. They really was looking for something like a layer for the third. That has been done in the past, I believe.
That would be a slurry or a fog seal, but this was the third layer of stone, a smaller stone. You also have an estimate presented to you for Longview Edgerton Road North. We've provided two estimates, one for a DBSD surface, one for a hot mix asphalt surface.
It's almost a total road failure. It's breaking every day. I mean, you said that's the worst road in the county that you've ridden. Have y'all ridden it? And bridge north, like South Creek. What is it doing? It's just whole chunks.
The soil there,
the road was never put in the right way, so hot mix asphalt would be the.
well, the estimates provide for full depth reclamation. We're gonna chew it all up, soil cement, and set you down to your base. And then it's just a matter of whether you want to go back with a chip seal surface, which is a seal coat again, or asphalt overlay, which provides some additional strength. The 1.5 inch, which is black, with stripe, is prettier. And if you look at the estimates, there's not a lot of difference in the cost.
100,000.
Between the two. So, interestingly enough, if the board wants to move forward, I think your packet mentioned advertisement, but we had this same scope of work, reclamation, hot mix, etc., with Phillips on Rock Hill Beach. If the board wanted to move forward, we could change order the Phillips contract and add it to it. I've talked to Mr. Hill with Phillips, Blake Hill. He thinks he can get the work done this fall.
Move approval.
So moved.
Move approval.
Been motion by Supervisor Train, second by Supervisor Carver. Move forward with the project on Longview Edgerton.
North.
Longview Edgerton North has a change order to the Phillips contract.
Yes. And you're calling Longview Edgerton South.
No, Longview Edgerton North will be above the bridge.
Right, but you're calling Longview Edgerton South of the county doing that?
Yeah, we've got that.
And sites and seals?
Yeah.
It's gotten so dangerous, I mean, it'll throw you from what, I don't know what's going on with God. I encourage you all right out there, but it's cold.
I think I know the answer to this, but I need to make sure the board puts this in their, board order, as to how we're gonna pay for this. I'm assuming it come out of the 2026 bond that we just left.
Yeah.
And then, I think you may have a hair of money left in 24.
Yeah.
But you're not. But if y'all will give me permission to split it between his available funds and the 26 bond funds, that
Oh, yeah.
he doesn't have any 24. Okay, so it had to be all 26.
26 bond, we can exhaust 24.
Right.
That's right, they sure did.
Yeah, you don't have, remember, that was sort of that conversation with Maiden Bell and New Life when we agreed to go ahead and give you the money to get it done. So it would have to be from your 26
We need to have that 26.
Still have 26.
I'll get to swapping money here.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes.
What you will see from me is I will present a change order document to the Phillips contract on Rock Hill East to provide for paving of Longview Edison Road.
Will that need to be signed by the board president, or are you handling all that?
I'm going to present it. I think I could handle it, but I think we need to present it just to make sure we got the.
Confirm the cost and all that, okay.
I did some checking between the estimate and the actual bid price that Phillips had on like this asphalt. The difference was like $1 or $2 a ton, so it's very close to that. And, but they did say that they would work with us, and we thought we could get the work done this fall. It's not a state aid project, so see on the limitations. We can not necessarily wait, but we can watch. We can see windows where we can work and get the work done. Thank y'all.
Will you just let me know what we need to do moving forward so you can execute?
Update on a few of the rest of them. Our District 2 work supervisor training, we're all done. Most part. That's the R&D, Pittman, and Phillips. And you like, I can get in the truck with you, let us always get in the truck with you, take a look. We've not finalized them yet, so if there's items out there that we need to address. Most of them you text me and we follow it up and fix mailboxes and this and that. If there's something out there we need to address, we'll be happy to. We're ready to wrap them up. Lane right away, we worked on Victor and I square on that on Center Line, I believe. Now we got that lined up.
Where's that?
That's on Lane Lane. Your Williams Road repair. You may have seen my crews out there. We've located the base repairs, 9/11. Those plans are almost ready. So I would hope the next board meeting to get permission to advertise the repair for Williams Road.
Mr. Pritchard, do we need to, that realignment on Lane will have to be board approved?
That'll be a right-of-way transfer.
Okay.
And that document we'll present to Rob for signature and certification on the right-of-way.
So the answer is yes, that's going to need to come
Yes.
from the board, okay?
Yes. It's going to be some new right-of-way acquired.
Right, yeah, I think I understand it, I just didn't understand the process.
Other than that, we've got a few estimates floating out there. I know Mr. Patty, we've looked at South Montgomery, Craig Springs, this and that. If y'all got work coming up, we'd like to get it together, hopefully advertised and bid during the fall, so some of this can crank up business money.
Have you got any estimates that are completed that I don't have?
Problem.
If you could get those to me, that would be, because I'm trying to plot them into all the different.
Some will need update, and I know we looked at South Montgomery kind of early spring in there, and some will need update, but yeah, we've got estimates we've produced on quite a few roads.
And I wanna make sure that when, go back before we get the final number, that we have some good shoulders on there. I've had a lot of them calls.
Shoulder material, we've added some pipes since the estimate that Vic and I talked about that need replacing in there. We gave you like a bob seal estimate for Craig Springs Road, and if you have other work that you're, won't consider, we're happy to look at it. And again, I think the plan that we executed last year was bidding the work in the fall, so that they had it on the table and the plan and worked out pretty well.
Y'all say South Montgomery, what is that? What kind of work is that?
What is a repair, there's some pipe replacement, shoulder material, but basically an overlay project.
Where is it, from where to where?
City limits.
City limits.
City limits.
I just think there's gonna be a lot of growth up. Probably fixing to grow, as it always has. As y'all know, people are moving to the county.
Only other thing I had on the list is I did forward to each of you and the county administrator a copy of the heavy haul permit that's been utilized before. My boss, Mr. Dungren, in his spring clause, actually input some looked at 3 or 4 permits in other counties. I sent that to Rob, he's got that, but I've got hard copies of that assessment too, if you like the comparison.
Which county?
These Hines, Lawrence, and Madison counties were included with ours, and there was a evaluation of the 4.
May I get a copy of that?
Sure, I brought hard copies.
Which ones have the most teeth for reparation?
I don't know if Rob had a chance to look at it. This was all happened Thursday and Friday, but
What we currently have is not gonna be, we've had this conversation, that what we've got is not sufficient. So, we need to do something.
OCHO 17620.
What you're talking about, we have the old one.
and those are just copies of what we've done so far, and, you know, y'all aren't the only county by far that's dealing with this issue. But I will say, I think what you did, and I think y'all got pretty high marks from Claude.
Who is Paul?
Mine is $100 per vehicle, per trip, per day.
The problem we've got, and I don't know the answer to this, we have an awful lot of logging and things that, and there's a balance in that between making certain these people can do their work, but on the same token, not tear our roads up, and I don't know what the.
Well, so the answer to that is whatever Vic says. If Vic approves the route, he knows, you know, between that and, no, because if Vic says, Vic knows, I've called him a bunch of times, he says, well, I would recommend, if they stick to it, they gotta get out. And if Vic recommends that's right, I adhere to it, I don't have a problem with it.
I base it on about 3 different things. One is the road itself, how soon, the last time the road was maintained, if there is another route, and bridges. Because you gotta, that's the first thing we have to look at.
Bad bridges.
We have to look at.
Well, if they hear the way he says, you gotta have a way in and out, ingress, egress, I get that, but they're not doing that, they're going any way they wanna go.
Well, we got a lot of that. We got people just go wherever they wanna go, even after giving them permit.
This is an interesting conversation if you read it, because you see that counties by and large, there's a difference in the way they treat the roads, whether you're letting this person borrow the road to use it, or whether it's an asset on the books, and you're doing what we had set up as a bond and repair agreement. So it's gonna bear some conversation. Hey, here he is.
Hard discussions that we have to have, it is.
Well, we do have to have them because, you know, I've had recently, I mean, me and Victor had, you know, this conversation, you know, about just fell out. We've worked for months to get the road fixed, and as soon as it's fixed and ready to roll, I mean, somebody's ready to harvest. And they should be able to harvest, you know, that's their deal. The quicker down the road are having it because the brand new road, Mr. Williams, is crumbling, and so we got to figure out you can't continue to spend taxpayer money to fix something that you think is a 10-year fix, and within a month, a 30-day period, your road is back to nothing. You have to start all over again. I understand that that's great for the contractors and the rest of them. But for us and taxpayers, that's a hard pill to swallow. So we have to figure out what needs
and
to
to
be
your
done.
point, yes, it's work, but it also, I'm quite honest, makes the county engineer look pretty bad because they think that guy don't know what he's doing. He just went out there and spent a bunch of money on this road, and it's total. So it's a challenge for you. We realize that. We'll come to the table, we'll help you talk, try to work through it. I will say the one that I provided in an email has been utilized on a couple, 3 occasions. Specifically, when Hale State Boulevard was built on the campus, there was an area on Blackjack that Burns wanted to use for a hall in there. They developed in a bar pit, etc. So it's been implemented.
Yes, I think they actually wrote the county a check, didn't they?
I think so. Yep.
Clyde, is a part of this conversation trying to to determine how much, do we need to start digging down deeper and make our road stronger long term? And what are the costs involved in that? I'm asking, I'm not suggesting I know, I just.
It's a deep conversation, and part of it is going to be, one of them is in your old business section today with the roadway assessment to begin with. There needs to be a front end assessment to say, hey, what kind of shape this road's in now. Then there needs to be a cost assigned to it, but more than that, it needs to be publicly out there so that people are aware that this process is required and neat. And, you know, quite honestly, you get the folks like Burns or Utah or Phillips that pick these things up, but John Key Public is not aware, the law cutters not aware, so part of it's going to be inform the public.
I would advise the board that this is an ordinance. The ordinance is valid. It's, so it has teeth in it. If you decide that we need to amend the ordinance for whatever reason, we will have to follow the process of first reading, 2-week notice, second reading, public hearing, those kinds of things. But the ordinance that we have is in full effect.
Well, who enforces the order? That's what you need to focus on. We need to focus on getting someone designated from the sheriff department to enforce the ordinance. I'm dealing with dirt hauls at Rock Hill. I'm getting calls about speeding trucks on Rock Hill Road. Okay, they leave in the county, they come to the city. Does the city have a dirt hauling permit?
I'm not sure.
So that's my interest. We need to develop, I know y'all said we can engineer some code, but we need to designate someone to enforce and be able to write tickets and to be able to send a message that, hey, you're going to have to comply. Because we can make all the orders we want to, but we got to put some enforcement in. We're going to have to create someone with the sheriff department. He needs to be a part of this conversation so they can enforce whatever we implement.
Ocala County have their own office.
That's what we need.
And I do think that brings up a whole another situation that, you know, we've got some emails about, you know, with, yes, with the apartment stuff and the way things have been, you know, handled and built. And we're growing. We all know we're growing, and, you know, we've been, you know, sitting around trying to figure out what we're going to do. And we have, you know, year and a half, 2 years ago, we put in our budget to where we can hire, you know, a building code person, which would be in effect to help with all those other regulations and stuff. And I think that we need to go ahead and look at what that person would look like, and maybe tax our HR, lady and county engineer, getting that job description up and posted so we can hire somebody.
And we making money. Because when that dirt and logs move, the county's making money.
Yes.
When they haul that dirt out of Rock Hill, wherever that dirt's going, they building something, it's going on the tax roll. So the county got the money to do it. We just need to go ahead and get it done.
And that's what I say. So I do want to put a motion on the table today that we, you know, have the HR director and the county administrator get together on the job description of our building code person and get that together and get it posted so we can hire somebody, you know, in there.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Williams, that we authorize our county administrator and our human resource director to develop a job description for, do you want to call it a building code enforcer or a code enforcer? Because
Code enforcer.
Planning and development.
Oh, well, yeah, something that gives you a broad scope.
that way you get a broad scope of
And they can work with the sheriff's department, we can work all that in the job description on how we maintain that, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just inserting my head together on this. Is this person also going to be looking at issues like what we had trucks that are on the side of the road as well?
Yeah.
I mean, so this would be the whole gambit of some of these problems. These are pretty major problems we're running into.
Yeah.
So
that's why I suggested maybe.
If y'all will allow me, what I'm trying to do is put together a document, kind of like what I provided y'all on the county engineer position. And that way you can get your head wrapped around a broader vision for what this thing's supposed to do. And if y'all will collectively agree to that, then that's the direction we're running.
Any other discussion?
This building code or code enforcement with grass, is that what you're asking? This building code, we said where's code, that's.
I'm talking about planning and development is what I'm talking about, which will take into account lots of different things, zoning, building codes, permit, enforcement, whether it be building permits, hauling permits. Now that would have to be more of a road department function, but actually figuring it out would be part of this person's
Your
responsibility.
site development permit too allows, based on the size of the development, for the county engineer to require a traffic study and assess what improvements might be required for the development. And to follow up just briefly on your comment, and Supervisor Williams made reference one time to a road that would accommodate essentially all traffic. Closest thing you got to that in the county right now is Blackjack Road that we did when we extended from the vet school down through the apartments. And that road's got like 12 inches of soil cement base, 12 inches of crush run, and about 7 inches of asphalt. And that was done then at a cost of about $5 million. It's probably 10 to 12 to do that same work now. So, yeah, you can build it, but it's terribly expensive.
And just for a little bit of clarification, what we're not talking about sending a code enforcer out because the person built that fence 4 inches too high. We're trying to target things like subdivisions, developments. We just talked about our roads, keeping our roads up to a certain standard. Our engineer just talked about having a pre-study of the area, if a proposed subdivision is going in, so we'll know what type of impact it's gonna have on that area, those type of things. We don't want the public to think that we're fixing to send somebody out and tell you gotta build your fence 4 feet tall, paint it white and blue stripe, and that's not what we're talking about.
So for clarification, this person won't enter private property, like the city has a code enforcement officer, this person will not enter private property and tell a homeowner what they can and can't do on their private property.
Correct. Just to talk a little bit more about the email that was mentioned a little earlier. This is an apartment complex that sits out in the county, and apparently there's lots of safety issues, and some parents was terribly concerned about their kids moving in because of the dilapidation and things of that nature. So those are some of the things we're trying to combat when we talk about how this code.
We are looking to make sure that as the county's growing, we have our responsibility is to take care of these people that are moving out there, but especially the children that are coming here to live, and where they have, buildings that they're going into, these apartment complexes, that they are built to safety standards for them with fire, and stuff like that, where you don't have moms and daddies sending you emails crying because the pictures they have from 3 states away when they're looking at apartments, they all look great and nice, but then when you get here, they're just messed up.
You send your deposit and sign your contract before you actually come into you?
When you live 3 or 4, a lot of these kids live 3 or 4 states away.
So that's what I was trying to figure out. I said, well, if it was, that's my thinking. I was thinking that, hey, it wasn't suitable. It didn't just get unsuitable. It probably was suitable before you even got there.
But the pictures and the stuff they send out, the marketing on it is completely different.
Let me tell you how that works. I just responded to 2 calls yesterday, and I went up to an apartment complex on High Top on the right at the gas station. This guy's a big time fire investigator, fire marshal. He said when they came up for their, he called me and said, "Why don't you meet me out here?" And he asked me, "What's your fire code?" He's an arson investigator. He said, "Here's 6 different black tar places." They call it an inside-out fire with my dad and the fire warden, that. And it happened one on Cross Street. They light a grill. You can't have a gas grill on the outside of the apartment complex, but there's char grills. And what they do is they grill when that fire takes off, it shoots into the building. So they do a demo. You come up with each child and look. They take you to the cleanest, freshest apartment they have, and that's how they show you on.
They have a demo apartment.
You have a demo apartment, and then when you go to sign the contract, they go, "All right, well, you're building 11, 3rd floor." So he's gonna get with our fire investigator. He said he saw 6 different violations just on the 2 floors he was at. So I gave him, they got connected. He said, because those are just basics, those are fire prevention things that we can't have happen in the county. So we need, I understand what you're saying, to say that people's kids move here. When you go look at an apartment, you don't go look at the apartment that you're gonna move into. You look at the one they got painted and staged and right by the pool and.
That's new to me. All my kids went here local. So that's what I'm saying.
They've got an apartment that's right by the pool.
That happened in my
There's
niece.
known fire violations. That for me, after seeing what I saw in Alderman on Crossgate, and I had that building burnt because somebody dumped charcoal over the edge and, it caught fire. That's a big safety concern. This gentleman, I had a meeting on Sunday afternoon to show me, so there's 6 different places he said you can see where people have had fires in porches and sprinkler heads that are taped up so they won't go off.
Or lines that haven't been run to sprinkler heads.
Yeah.
And as a public entity, that's part of our
We have no code, so they don't get inspected.
Who does the county fire inspection? Because we got, who does the inspection? Nobody?
Trying to hit 2 corners. Yeah. But no, historically, what happened on these apartment complexes is you had them come in because we had no zoning. They hired a third-party inspector on behalf of the bank or the finance company to review the construction. That was it. And once they got financed and moved in, it was.
So I wrote the moratorium. There were so many coming in. We did a 2-year moratorium. That's when Blackjack, the city, there's a 3-year moratorium. That's when Blackjack exploded and everything. Because the university said we're going to increase our enrollment by 800 a year for so many years. And they did that. And so I do want to make sure the county has somebody that can go through and see the known efficiency and arson investigation. And I am all about this position if it's, can create a safety environment, which we need to be looking at.
If you, going back to some question related to road construction and then the establishment of an ordinance to enforce road construction. Do we have a way of waiving heavy haul material that is over the weight limit?
Not to my knowledge. And, when we're designing a new road from y'all, which is typically in the county would be a gravel road for start with, we're looking at 3 factors: soil type, anticipated traffic on the road, and duration before you would be required to do some maintenance or upgrade on that road. But to answer your question, Supervisor Williams, I don't know that we have a method of assessing whether someone is overweight.
Over the weight limit.
Or not.
We going to
So we are designing for X repetitions of legally loaded trucks coming through, and unfortunately, we found out it doesn't take many heavier trucks to cause that some damage. But I don't know that we have a way of measuring that.
Well, what happens is you get into, when you start talking about weight limits, you start getting into your axles and the weight of your axles, and so I think that term you use, legally loaded repetitious type. So that way they can't say, well, the school bus comes, but the school bus is not a repetitiously 10, 15 times a day event that takes place.
We're looking at the total traffic on the road or the anticipated traffic. Some of your roads won't get 400 vehicles a day. Some of them will get thousands. So that's part of our engineering work to look at that. And as a percentage of that traffic, we treat as 18,000, we call it 18 kilo, single axle loads. So that's how we account for the trucks. And we put some percentage of that traffic as trucks. Now, if that percentage doubles or triples, or we get overloaded trucks, then those calculations are in jeopardy.
That's all the trucks and long trucks are, I think that,
Correct.
We'll do that motion.
Okay. Yes. thing when I was.
That's all I had.
What's the history,
hold on.
what is the history on the state of Mississippi raising the legal limits? Haven't they raised some limits a couple of times in the last 3,
Yes, they've done.
4 sessions? And every time they do that, then obviously our road, which we designed under one legal limit, or somewhere to keep up.
Before we get too far, of course, let's go ahead and approve the motion to authorize our administrator and our human resource director. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay.
I'd like to continue on with a few other things.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There were some estimates that you did for District 5, and I appreciate that. Those are all good estimates that you did on a couple of roads for possible repair. And I'd like you to present that information, of course, to our county administrator. I think he needs that information. But in the meanwhile, I would like to offer that we advertise for a motion, that we advertise for Cook Drive. That's one of those that you've done an estimate.
That one is fairly recent too, I believe.
Right. Very recent. Very recent.
Yes.
That we advertise for Cook Drive. That we That we advertise for Cook Drive. We advertise for Outlaw Road. And then a small section on St. Mark that didn't take well. I think you.
Down there by the church?
Yes, didn't take well. Maybe starting at that T maybe. Starting
Yes,
at T maybe, I believe.
We're
that's
talking
right.
back north right there.
Yeah, going back west. Yeah, going west, if you look at those and advertise for construction and repair on those.
Well, I have a question. And it's the same thing I brought up along to you. You have an opportunity to change all of those roads into contracts now without advertising, if that's what you want to do.
That seems like.
But I need to present the estimates, I guess.
Yes.
That's your quicker route to get the work done.
Some of these DBST roads, well, most of them, all of them DBST roads. So is the contract with DBST or is it with Leverett and Overlay?
There's some of both, but Supervisor Trainer just had a lot of DBST work done, reclamation and DBST work done. And those contracts are still open, so they could be done as change orders to existing contracts.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. If you would. And I'm sure you'll present that information to our county administrator to make sure that funds are available.
I can do that by email.
Yes, of course.
Right.
So instead of advertising, what
It's gonna be an estimate change order to my contract.
I would rather this board approve a known estimated number before we issue.
And that'll be the change order amount.
Okay.
In addition to that, you just have some conversation with me about Williams as you look at it to see whether or not what section needs to be completely overlaid or what section need to be maybe some reclamation done and then overlaid.
I'll tell you now my thought process and the plans we're working on, and I'll try to be brief, but our intent right now is to do a full depth reclamation from Lanier south and overlay that. Do base repair from Lanier north. And when I finish the base repair and the overlay, put a fog seal on the entire roadway so that it all looks the same and restripe it. That's what I'm working on now. That's
That's what we approved last time from the Lanier, that address.
Yeah, that's Lanier.
So in the end, we would do a fog seal, very similar to the slurry seal, which would make it all look the same, and then we'll restripe it, and it should be back where it was.
Well, I'm saying to you, let's have could you have a conversation with me other than now?
Certainly.
And maybe on the site to let me know really what you think is a good plan to get.
Certainly, and I will have with me a video of a fog sale move, so you can come see what that looks like. Yes. Just, you and I can meet, just whatever convenient for you. Okay, I'm aware y'all got some old business coming up, I'm gonna hang around for that in case you need me. That's all I have.
Go ahead, Supervisor.
We have a motion on, I think we need a motion on those, 3 roads that we talked
What
about.
that have is Cook Drive, Outlaw, and St. Martin.
Need a motion to authorize change orders.
So, second.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And you won't execute those until it comes back before the board with a dollar amount, right?
Correct. I will develop the change order cost. Per the prices we already working on, present that to you. We'll have some feed in there also, but you'll have a feel on what the cost is gonna be.
Us having agreed to go ahead and hire our person, you know, to do this, without having, like, we're sitting there, you know, talking about these, you know, different codes and different stuff. We need to adopt some codes and how, you know, because if we don't have those adopted, how can we enforce anything, you know, that's there? And my suggestion is, you know, since we've been, you know, talking about it, and according to what I've been told and heard and read, and you can back me up if this is correct, if, we went ahead and adopted some codes, you know, in the county, that's something that we can tweak to, you know, for us. You know, if this doesn't work for the county, but it didn't work, you know, over here, we can take that out.
I have said this before, I would encourage you, if this is the road you're going down, to let your county engineer, maybe your realtors, your bankers, your developers, get this thing out there for some of these folks to look at and make sure you're not adopting something in there that's onerous to your developer, or that you just simply can't satisfy.
And that's what I'm saying, but I would think that we would need to go ahead and adopt the codes and then have an open meeting about them with people to say, hey, this is what we're doing, but we can go in here and we can tweak this, and we can take this out if we can't.
I would say, Ms. Barry, I'd say select one first and get some input before you formally adopt.
Oh, yeah, there's people do it for a living, you can, a lot of them, if you have an open meeting, have 2 open meetings, let them come speak and what works in the industry, what do they do, they don't not only develop people, they develop in a lot of the counties.
There's just so much subtle stuff in there, and I apologize.
That's okay, go ahead.
But there's so much subtle stuff in there, i.e. we had a situation in another venue where they adopted code, the code required 5 hydrants, we used 750 or maybe it was 1,500 gallons a minute 5 gallons. Well, that sounds correct. There wasn't a tank or pump or line in the area that could provide that kind of flow. So those are some of the things that need to be looked at before you just say, here it is, or else.
But, maybe we can look up, because there are standard building codes.
Correct.
That you can go ahead and adopt your standard building code, if that's what we wanted to sort of target, you know, moving forward, and then add on the other codes. I don't think what you just mentioned would be in standard building codes, but it might.
There are some items in there, and that was just an example, but I have encouraged y'all from some time to adopt for the reason that continuity in the system or in the infrastructure, so that developer X doesn't put in one type file, developer Y puts something different in time, the county maintenance person gets called out because we've got a leak. But the first thing you gotta do is figure out what it is.
Right.
And then he's gotta order it, and then he's gotta get it. If you get some continuity in your standards, and you guys, then some of those things are sitting on the shelf, he anticipates what's out there, and he knows what's working. Makes sense?
There's nothing wrong with listening to that bill, and I definitely think is, we have one chance to get this right. So I would not be for just adopting code and then trying to, adjust over time, but listen to what they say, listen to recommendations from the bankers and the developers and people who've been doing this. Most of them would say they already built beyond the standard code, and they're gonna argue for that.
You've got some architects in the area that deal with this kind of stuff every day, and they know what some of these things are talking. What can be problematic and what's not.
The adoption of building code regulations in accordance with the governing documents policy that this board has adopted would require at least one public hearing. Now, I'm with you, I don't know that the public hearing meeting would be the right way to try to make adjustments to it.
I would encourage some work sessions and some input from the people that work in this industry all the time before I formally adopt it.
So maybe.
Ms. Patty is correct. The code, by and large, gives you the opportunity and the option to waive or make adjustments, based on what's available.
I think we need to keep in mind, however, that we're not talking about codes for homeowners, dwellings, but codes for rental property or industrial development, those type of codes. I don't think we're talking about putting codes on building a dwelling or building a house.
I think we should, pardon me, but when we have these developers that are building spec homes for subsequent sale, I think those folks ought to be considered as a part of the developing of the property. Now, if you have an individual property owner that's building, a contracted home, I would hate for, we need to be able to protect the ultimate homeowner.
Yeah, who moves in the county for the purpose of moving in the county.
Yeah.
So we be careful about how do we put codes on homeowners.
And to Mr. Carver's comment too, keep in mind, there's a very clear distinction between code and zoning.
Correct. And that's the message and what we're talking about today is building code specifically. And that's basically, building code is you need to make sure you use a 12-2 ground wire and not put more than 8 circuits on it. Your rafters or trusses need to be at least 2 feet center. And these are building codes to make sure you're building a building that's going to be able to withstand and be safe and not somebody move in and you ran a half-inch line when it should have been an inch and a half. Now, things like that, those are building codes to make sure this building is being constructed safely. But maybe while we're developing the job description and we can sort of encompass all of this, make sure we land together.
One thing I would say is I represent low-income people too that may not be able to build to certain standards. If there's mobile homes coming in, if there's all types of development going in. So I mean, it is something that has to be considered and encompassed into that. If somebody putting a mobile home in, that's kind of standard. But I mean, I've noticed that some people move to the county but can't afford to live in the city. And there's a tax benefit for living in like Tillamook County versus the city of Starkville. So how do you, address that?
Well, I mean, when I say, I don't know if you can relax a building code, because what you do, you jeopardize safety. Again, if you put a 14-2 gauge wire instead of a 12-2, but then you start pulling appliances and that 14 gauge heat up and cause a fire. You really hadn't helped a person by lowering the building standard. Things like that is what I'm.
But to your point, then there are state and national standards for mobile home industry.
Correct.
That have to meet.
Right.
We're in conversation now, I don't know if it's made it to Rob yet, about construction of these tiny homes, as to what category they fall in. Yeah, but some of your mobile home industry is already regulated.
Maybe I don't know enough. I don't know enough about it. I'd like to have some work sessions to learn, because I can't vote on something that I need to know more about.
Hanging out in the seat.
Well, yeah, I think we carried the motion, we authorized.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
okay.
job description.
Before you, did we do anything officially on this Holden Butler, policy, or we just gotta do some work on it?
That was just for information.
Information purposes, and we're willing to help with any of this.
Okay.
To whatever extent that you need. So if I will, if you let me know, we'll ride with you and go with that. There should be paint on the repair section now, on the floor there. But you and I'll get together and look at that. Thank y'all for what you do. I'm gonna hang around for the whole business portion of you do.
Motion acknowledged. Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we've got our road manager, Mr. Collins.
Good morning. Good morning. I just got one item. We have a notice from the school concerning a Tilly Lane. They're asking the county to maintain it for the purpose of school buses using it.
Motion to accept the request.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion?
Yes, I have further discussion. Rob, this is where we need to talk some more about the fact that this is a 911 road, we're gonna need easements and things of that nature. I mean, it's a private drive.
No, we already doing.
Yeah, we got a,
same as the school bus company.
We already doing. We're not planning to put it around, just keeping up with school bus.
Only during the
If we-
school
if
year,
we-
it's not.
Rob, yeah, I'm not saying it's not legal.
It's
I'm saying we need to cover ourselves so that somebody doesn't come back later and say, well, the county been maintaining that road for years, therefore it's a county road and y'all need to pay it.
They already doing that, but what I cover is that when we pass an order, that we're passing it for school bus turnaround. They do this here, so they cover us.
This is not something that the county is taking initiative to do. This is a request coming from the school board. And as no different than a request to go onto private property and build a school bus turnaround, whether it's at the end of a 911 road or not. Maybe you were saying you're a little uncomfortable because of the 911.
I'm saying this road is currently owned by a private individual.
We understand.
And so the school bus
And the school board has requested that we maintain this road. And my question is, have we gotten permission from the landowner to maintain this?
I can get permission.
Have we got?
That's the school board's directive. It's their directive to determine.
Administrator is no different, and they're all over the county where you gotta go off onto private property to do
I'm all in favor of all of it. I'm just trying to protect
Right.
us and the taxpayer.
I'm just saying it doesn't fall any different. It doesn't fall any different than what we're doing. When you go onto private property, use county resources, build a school bus turnaround, it's all based on a request from the school board to do so.
Thank you, Supervisor. I don't have anything further. I mean, that's.
All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. But we do appreciate you making sure we stay legal and above.
Well,
the water.
Got a call request. It's at 1588 John High Road. Tasha. Sure.
Motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. I've got a couple of requests. I think it's 246 Jones Road. Second. That's off Potterdale. Motion by Supervisor Howard, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
These are codes to access property.
Alright. Any more?
What's the name again for John Hines?
1588, Tasha Sheridan, Josh Sheridan.
That's it.
McMillan Road down there in Sturgis. We still have a little bit of that, dust settling stuff that they need.
Alright, we don't have any of that left. We actually use it all on the,
Would it affect?
It does. It does good for a while.
You need to grade it out and just.
Yeah, once you grade it, it's got a couple of times, once you get rough, it's gonna be declared that, I would have to actually go back and redo it because it actually crosses, out of the country, it comes out of Canada. So I'd have to go back, I can call them and get an estimate on it. And, we'll give them some more in. Yeah, it's chloride, calcium chloride, yeah.
And it'll settle, and it will, settle dust. It's not a permanent fix at all.
Yeah, it'll hold the dust.
In the dog days, it'll hold it down for a little while. But once it.
As long as you don't break it, it's good. We kind of incorporate it and then we smooth it up and wet it real good and it reacts. And then it kind of makes a film, oily films, and that oil film holds the dust. We always do different material and put them on ourselves.
Do you have a name for Jones Road out Maxwell?
Name, Gary Jones.
Alright, yeah.
Anything else?
On these bus turnarounds, on these private drivers that we're grabbing the roads for the buses, I think it needs to be understood that we're just grabbing the road, we're not maintaining driveways, changing out covers. But it's just maintaining the road, putting gravel down the road. So I think some of the residents misunderstands that we have to come in and place covers as well, but that's not the case. We just maintain that road, put gravel on, we don't do the covers, or, unless it's that particular driveway has been deemed a bus turnaround, then we will maintain that turnaround. But as far as the road itself, we just maintain the road.
That's on the E911.
That's on the bus turnaround route. Once, a lot of time when people see you go in and do that one, they think you're gonna do all of them. And we have to tell them, no, it's just for that bus turnaround and the road, that's it. But we have had those calls.
I apologize. I have a culvert request that is coming in from Bart Williams regarding the subdivision back in Longview. And he's requesting that the county provide the culvert for the entrance into the subdivision located on Buckner Road. I don't know the policy.
22.
This being a development as opposed to a residence.
That Bugner or John Hyde?
I think it's on John Hyde now.
It's
No, this is not the one. This one was actually on Buck.
The one you talked?
Yeah, the one we're talking about, they need an entrance. Those are just covers going into the houses there. This one is on Buckner.
Those are actually residences. What I'm trying to communicate is a subdivision build out that needs an entrance.
My mind be no different. I mean, just authorize the road management and the developer to work together. The county just do what we normally do.
The normal 20 foot culvert,
Right.
and then any cost over and above that would be borne by the developer.
Right, and maybe a situation where you may want a long cover, if you bring a long cover, and we already there, put it in. I mean, just work together. On the initially, but I'm sure it's gonna change over time.
Right.
You know, when they start doing the actual permanent, it's on what kind of development.
I didn't know how to advise.
Yeah,
I didn't know what
that's
this.
the way you request it. He's requesting a cover,
Yeah, we just.
it's right. He's requesting some,
Just to get
that's the one we just talked about. I guess we just need to get the board approval on, to, put it in, that's it.
You want to make that motion right?
Oh, 20 foot culvert, and then any cost over and above that would have to be borne by the developer.
That's the right way, that meets Buckner, WRIGHT.
That's the right way on Buckner Street.
Yes, that sounds correct.
Motion for, are you saying it's a 40 foot? Look at all that.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's a pretty big design, but, you know, we just provide standard residential coverage. So any cost over and above a standard residential, I would think would need to be borne by the developer. I don't know how Mr. Collins and he would work all that out.
Well, normally what they do is they, if they want something over and beyond, they have to buy that extra cover.
I think our long is one with 30 feet.
30.
Our standard one is what, 20?
Standard twin, long is 30.
Got, get a motion by Supervisor Carver, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Install the cover on
Right way.
Right.
This is that intersection, right?
Yes.
Intersection of Buckner.
Is that it for?
Well, I know.
I'm with, Mr. President.
Go ahead. You almost got it.
I'll be brief. You heard the recommendation I gave to Mr. Klein for, possible repair of at least 3 roads.
Yes.
And you're familiar with those roads, I'm sure. And there are some other ones that you and I talked about. If you just kind of communicate with me in terms of how do we work those 3 in, and then work on those other ones also.
I'm working on estimates on some roads now, so, for you, that's all.
Yeah, but it might not be these 3.
No, well, one of them was, but if you got that one, I can take that one off my list and,
Right.
But yes, I'll, in fact, I've got some I've already gave to administrator, he's working on the figures on, and I've got a few more for you and Patty both.
If I can get all of those, Vic mentioned that he had some that he was continuing to work. Clyde's now been tasked with 2 things. If I can get them all in before the next meeting, then I'll try and present them to this board so that y'all can have a full picture of what's out there and how much money is going to be involved.
What is the situation with sites and seals along Davidson South?
Alright, I am going to, we actually, I think they finished Poly Bell this morning. We're gonna get Wooten while we're out there, and then we're gonna move to this side, and we're gonna start grinding up sites and seals and get it. We got, construction going on some other projects. We actually got kind of stretched thin with the guys, but we are moving to get everything we got on the list done.
How long before you think you get the sites and seals?
I'm gonna say a couple of weeks. Yeah, give us a chance to get Wooten soil cemented and paved, and then we'll be coming that way and we'll get the ground on it.
I guess my concern about sites and seals is it was approved, but no, it was never funded.
Yeah, that would have to be funded through
We need to talk about, I'd like to use my portion of that bond money to sites and seals along Longview South, and that's something this board needs to discuss. I know you got not obligated, and I'd like to obligate at least those three. And what
I
else?
think it's just a matter of, letting.
I say
control.
we already done Longview, so we just do the
The longer you know it, which
Okay.
is, that's the really.
Yeah, the main thing is just get the money in place so we can, so our comptroller can tell me I can get it.
I'd like to make a motion, that I use, of course, for sites and seals and Longview, what you're calling Longview South, which is from the bridge back to the gravel, but you're not paving Longview South on the 16th section, the gravel part.
No, we're just gonna reseal that pavement to preserve it.
Which one is this? Is this?
It's gonna be the 2,900 feet. You see that one? So that's gonna be the new one now.
But basically, just give them what you want, they'll let you know if you got funding to do everything you want.
Seals,
Now, see these. But that's right here.
$135,000.
When you say Longview Road, you give me 3 different estimates.
Longview.
I think there's 3 Longview Aitons right there.
Yeah, well, no.
The north and the
That's north. That's Clyde. These two are mine. These two right here.
All right, which one you talking about doing?
Both of these.
Both of them. All right, and we talking about doing sites and seals.
Yes, that's it.
We have it.
And to answer the question,
Yes. No, not that. I don't think he put that out yet. That's coming out on the next board meeting. That's something Wayne and I have been working on. But so you do have some on there?
Motion by Supervisor Carver and second by Supervisor Trainer, to add those roads to this list. All in favor?
and I have.
Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, one more request.
Yes, sir.
But Mr. Williams, I think he's still.
Well, I just had a question about Harris that we're working on. We've done dead work on Harris and Lane.
Yes.
And those fundings are coming out of 2024.
Yeah.
Fund.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
Yes, that's correct. Harrison Lane have already been approved and funded.
Yeah, I think
So that's on.
Osby also.
well, Osby, I'm just not.
Which one?
Osby. It wasn't on the 2024, was it?
No, it hasn't even, I haven't even received an estimate
Yeah,
on mine.
that one is the one I have on my desk. That's the one I'm working on, and that's one of the ones.
Okay.
All right.
Have you had any problems with heat exhaustion or all the guys staying hydrated? I mean, have you had anybody, we lost a couple. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Now, it's kind of warm out there, but so far, so good.
Make sure they get the break.
Yeah. So far, we've been kind of in the trucks and on the machine, so there's nobody walking around or standing in the direct sun, so it's been pretty good.
Right now, your work hours is 6 o'clock?
For the work crew.
For the work crew.
For the work crew. They're coming in at 6 and leaving at 2 something.
By the time.
They like that?
Hottest part of the day.
Yeah, they do. We, at Central Shop, we still on the 7 o'clock schedule. Unless the trucks come in early to go get material, and then that way they can get back here by the time the other guys are here. We have to do that to kind of expedite the process to make sure that the other guys getting in at 7 o'clock are not standing there waiting on trucks.
Anything else, Supervisor Frank?
Yeah, I got one request. I want to make a motion that we allow Mr. Collins Road Department to look at a situation at 152 Jordan Lane, property belonging to Lorenzo Hill. It might need a cover, and if it does, authorize the cover to be placed in that particular property.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
152 Jordan Lane, Lorenzo Hill.
Anything else for our road manager? Not thank you, Mr. Collins.
Right. Well, I tried, Mr. Collins.
Well, that's all right. You still did a lot.
All right.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. County Administrator, Mr. Carter.
I have one item, concerning the a resolution to,
to ask Tom Dickey River Valley Water Management District to perform some drainage ditch maintenance and clean out on 10 Lane Road. About 2,170 foot of drainage ditch and looking at a box culvert.
Motion by Supervisor Little, second by, I'll second that. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Such a question, that's all that I have.
Do they pay for box cutter?
I don't think we're replacing it. I think what's on the scope of work is cleaning it out and making sure that it drains into it properly and exits out of it properly.
I just know they don't provide material.
I don't think the intention is to replace the box culvert as much as it is to make certain that we get the water going through it properly.
Yeah, box covers are real bad to stop up with settlement if you don't, if that ditch is not maintained.
Great. We've been asked a request by comptroller, maybe to give some definition on the use of the 2026 funds for a district. What is the pleasure of the board? The amount was a little different than what we thought it was going to be.
What's the total amount? 11,857.
11,587.
985. So then Mr. Tramer's got how much obligated?
Well, our original was to try and use $10 million for infrastructure around the county and $2 million for our administrator. The amount we've gotten, we can still do $10 million for infrastructure, but his amount would be reduced to $1 million, whatever that other amount is. And if that's still the pleasure of the board,
This
then.
is two got, when you say we've got that much is obligated, correct?
The way I'm saying it is we were, our intention was to use $10 million around the county for infrastructure projects and $2 million to our administrator. Right now, the amount that came in, we can still do $10 million around the county, but his amount will be reduced to $1 million or whatever that is, if that's still the pleasure of the board. And $10 million around the county.
Being the system of government we are, I mean, is the county attorney out? We're in the ramifications of what we can and can't do.
Well, that's what, we can do $10 million around the county. We just get 10 million infrastructure projects. And if it happened to be 2 million per district, then that's just how it will happen to be. But the language of saying you get this, that's sort of illegal because you get some leaks. So 10 million projects.
I want to dedicate 10 million to road construction and what the remainder, about $1,583, we'll look at trying to put together some facilities maintenance efforts. We've got some roofs, we've got some parking lots that need some attention. We've got some shed construction that needs to go on out at the road department. And so I provided you with a report that kind of gives you an idea of what's currently been obligated. If you look down at that third table here. And then today, obviously, we obligated a few more things that are not included in this report that I need to get updated.
But just for the clarification purpose, that's the intent, 10 million of infrastructure projects. So now our comptroller and our administrator will know how to go about funding these projects. Yeah.
Getting over is what you, get what you need.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else?
Hopefully this
That's what we trying to avoid saying, but that's.
And y'all get to decide what gets approved.
Yeah,
And you also got your,
Well,
Oh, yeah,
while
we-
we're talking about that, I know this may be coming up on something else, or, well, it might be on the old business, but I was thinking that this will have direct effect on, Clyde, and then going and reevaluating all the roads in the county to see which ones, good and bad, that, where the money would be designated to, where we start our project on there.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else, Mike, for our administrator? I thank you, Mr. Charles. Next on the agenda, we got our sheriff department.
No, we don't have anything. Unless you want to have something for us.
Hey, I got a book I need to sign.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Thank y'all.
Okay, nothing coming from our sheriff department. Next, we got a chancellor clerk, Ms. Living.
Nothing right now.
Nothing coming from our chancellor clerk. Okay, next item is our board attorney, Attorney Robinson.
I have a couple of things. Y'all, one is the designation of the Lake Little Road area. We had to actually designate this area, and I actually have a map that it shows exactly where the dedication is. And in this dedication, we had to put the identifiers to do this. I have a resolution prepared designating this.
I believe this was in your packet. I'm not certain, but I think I got it in there.
Need a motion? Motion by Supervisor Little, second by Supervisor Carter. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Is this a green sign or is it?
This is the standard, it's the standard one they use for the, for any designation, and to be honest with you, I don't remember the color of it.
Usually a brown.
Brown. I think it's brown as well, but I don't want to say that it ended in different colors.
Rooney Brown. I told you this before, but I saw y'all's article in the last Starkville paper, and that's been every department in town. And what a testament it is to you, David, and the family. I'm just proud of y'all and the boys, and but I did every department I'm going to. That Starkville magazine has been well. We got a copy today highlighting Mr. Johnston.
He's got it.
Okay.
They don't have a smart phone. Yes. Okay. The other thing that I have.
You need that right this instant. Can it wait till tomorrow? Yeah, okay. If we can get it all signed when Marvell work on this too.
The other thing that I have.
We need to carry that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. It's been moved and second, all in favor? Motion, I thought we did. Yeah.
The second thing I have, this is cleanup language. Y'all had already approved this, but for some reason I had not done a resolution, and I wanted to go back so that we're staying in track on for the future. This is for the resort status on Poorhouse Road, and it's a resolution basically asking the legislature to do what we've already done, but to keep in line with the way we should be doing it, I went ahead and made a resolution for cleanup purposes.
Motion for approval.
Motion by Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Little, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
And also, this is not on your agenda, but I did get a couple phone calls to deal with the apartment complex as well that had some dangers. The gentleman sent me some pictures. Y'all, the refrigerators weren't even cleaned out. Just imagine what was in those refrigerators. I'm not going to, but that, to your point, some of these things are safety issues, and I just think it needed to be said. I told the father that I would say that, and let y'all know that there was just some really terrible things that were out there for those kids. Another issue that's popping up, and we have dealt with this in the past, is an issue where we have a business out in the county that's parking cars out on the easement of the road. There's some safety issues out there, but we don't have an ordinance that really helps us much in terms of fining them or anything like that. So I did tell the gentleman that called me about.
We have a tow.
Well, believe it or not, this is a towing company that's actually doing this. So. Yes, sir.
We looked into it. That's the one on the state highway.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, east side. That'd be east to east.
That's exactly what it is.
And we might need to start looking at our towing policy, because I felt horrible this weekend when I was looking around. The towing companies had come and kids were at apartment complexes, moving in, trying to, do it, parking here, parking there, because they can't, park, and they got other people coming to help them move in. They didn't go up the stairs and come back down within 10 minutes. Their cars were towed. That is horrific.
It's predatory towing.
It is horrible, and when you target those children, welcome to Starkville. Here's your $300 towing fee.
It happens a lot more.
To your great grandmother that was here.
Two times the city attorneys are looking at what the city went through that predatory towing and see what they used to alleviate that, because I think it went to where they can't tow unless they get a call from the property manager, and that's
supposedly.
Well, that's not happening, because I know for sure that the apartment complexes hire the towing, and I get it. You don't want everybody taking up your parking places for your tenants and stuff. But they'll wait until late at night, and if a kid's tire is on the line, they tow them. They are absolutely doing this, being predatory with it, for no reason, except for to make money. But they are absolutely towing vehicles where the tire may have been sitting on the parking line and not in between.
We think it's best to make a motion to ask the attorney to investigate this and see what would work for the county, or how y'all want to word it. But that's what's going on, because I think the city had to address it now. You can be right over the line, being a county, it's the same situation, just as bad being a county. And they're probably trying to make that bottom line, so now they're targeting where they can with the county residents.
So you can have anybody's car towed for him?
They can go in there.
At the apartment complex.
It was pretty bad about 6 months ago. They can go.
I'm just talking about this. If I wanted to have your car towed, I can just say, well, go get this car.
No, they're riding through somebody's on the grass.
No, it has to be a violation.
They're not in the perfect apartment. They have a contract with the same apartment complex. That manager made me out of town because they go through there and they just start looking for cars.
They're right there in a circle on them,
And so what they're trying to say, the city, I think, to alleviate the situation, says they have to have a call out for that car before that gentleman can come get a car and tow it. That was how they found the work. But I need to know more. So they have a contract. Several of those apartment complexes canceled their contract because it's bad, come in and just start hauling cars.
Well, who are the major companies that tow cars?
I'm not gonna list that out here because there's 2 or 3 that were up there.
Well, why don't you just deal with the problem? Bring them in right here and tell them what we want them to do and not do. And tell them what's going to happen if they don't do what we tell them to do.
I think it's gotten out of hand.
If we got that far, that's what we got to do.
It's gotten out of hand.
You know who's doing it.
A while back.
You know who's doing it. You got to bring them in and tell them, say, look, here's what we're going to do. Now you can work with us. Are we gonna deal with it?
Because on the other side, you need them. There's times that they've got to move cars, get traffic moving, and it's a good industry. It's just, I think sometimes they work with authority they don't have.
I mean, I don't see any other way. I
agree with you. I think you need to bring them in. Cause it can get to where
Does
there's.
y'all wanna pass a law, say we can, no towing at all in October?
No.
Well, I mean, that'll get the attention. You can't tow a car at all for no certainty in October.
I think it's a safety issue. If you got cars,
I bet you there'll be a bit in.
We can
if
do
you've
that
got
if
cars
we're working in the
that
neighborhood.
Yeah, I bet you
halfway
there'll be a
down,
bit.
they're halfway in the highway, and somebody died, so they hit a vacuum a car that didn't get all the way up the road, they car really good.
Well, I mean, it's just get to the point where you just got to be, we can pass these laws, but we got to be able to enforce them.
Supervisor Coward, to your point, there's some of these towing companies are towing these vehicles back to their location and leaving them on the side of the road on our easement or the state's easement.
Causing a hazard.
Causing a hazard, and then even on top of all, some of the areas that I saw pictures.
Go 82 East.
Yep.
Right before you get to the Lowndes County line. I don't know if it was Apex, was that something? I don't know what it is.
I don't remember the name of it.
But right out here, before you get to the county line, you'll see cars on both sides of the road.
They're just leaving on the side.
Well, can't,
You driving
but
it.
now can't we go ahead and say that today that said, you know, that we got north that you can't be parking, you know, cars for any business purpose.
You're in the state highway, so you're exactly control to get
That's why
it.
we've been hesitant because it's on 82, and that's MHP.
MHP.
They've been
Is that
contacted.
their property? Is that state right away?
Stay right. Stay right away. It's gonna stay right away. Now that's private property where they're business, but they got so much stuff on their private property, it's encroaching onto the public
They've
right.
already told
Oh,
us.
yeah.
Oh, man, yeah, I've heard.
They're maxed out on the limit, put it on the side of the road.
That's another business opportunity, so now you wanna store towed car.
But it's still in
Yeah, we saw
October
that.
County, so it's still.
We got to deal with it.
What do we come up with on the Highway 25?
I think we talked to the people who put the signs. Well, they put the signs up there, they'll take permission first to put the signs up there. No problem.
Okay.
I mean, it's dangerous. If some kid or person, human, whoever, is driving through there and they go off the road just a little bit, they're gonna hit one of those cars. I mean, I pray that doesn't happen, but it's dangerous, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And for the fact that you got somebody that's in the towing industry, that safety is supposed to be part of what they're doing this, to me, that's crazy.
Can the board authorize sheriff department to go in and contact these people and have them move? And not to, like Supervisor Fred said, if it happens again, just haul them in there.
I know, Senator Rock, he spoke to me last week about it. I think it's been addressed once before through MHP, so I'll find out exactly what they came up with.
Is that?
That's all I have. Yes, sir.
Okay, next, we've got county business. We've got item Supervisor Trent.
Very quickly, 3 minutes or less. You all can recall back in November 2024, we came to the board with a pilot project involving Microsoft technology. And it's almost about to be November 2026. But back in April of 2026, we got the approval for a pilot project encompassing Cannon Road, and we wanted to do a little site work, a little ditching, also install some covers and do some raising of road to make sure that the road was properly prepared and also for some safety concerns. After presenting this particular project to the board, I think the board attorney looked at the legal framework and decided that there was some concerns concerning the structure of this particular pilot project. And he was concerned about some of the statutes as it relates to procurement not being met, as it relates to the bidding process and how this particular project was set up. And what I would like for the board to do, I would like for the board to reaffirm its commitment to this project. I do know there was a fiscal impact involving in the project because initially we were wanting to work with the area that was provided, but we came back and decided we wanted this to be a model pilot project. And then we also wanted this project not to impede the progress of work around the county. So what we did was we were able to secure a contractor to come in to actually install, implement the product, and also do some of the shaping, the county was going to provide the material, so on and so forth. And so therefore, the total cost of the project was somewhere in the neighborhood of $189,000 when we went to that particular route. Basically, what we want to do today, we want to just remind the board that the project was already approved, about not quite a mile project, pilot project. It's not a countywide commitment, and we also respect the concerns from the board attorney, but we're also looking for a way to move this particular project forward with a legal pathway. We seem to think that this particular project and this product can be very beneficial long-term and short-term to Octavia County. It provides us another alternative in relation to what we're using now with soil cement. We were wanting to get this project done before the current construction season ends. However, we're willing to make whatever adjustments that we can to keep this project going. We've been given the opportunity of having deferred payments from the contractor, meaning the contractor will go ahead and do this particular project, and we can defer those payments at a later time. That would be agreeable by both the contractor and the county. And then also, I'm so adamant about the potential of this project, I would like to encourage us on some current projects that we're utilizing, especially county projects, but I think our county projects don't require as much extensive oversight from the engineer, but if we want open oversight, that's fine. I would encourage us to look at the possibility of substituting soil cement for the NovaSol at some of these other projects around the county. I know that'll be at the discretion of the supervisor, representative of the district, but we seem to think that this particular product can make a substantial impact in our road system in Octavia County. But we have to get it off the ground. We've been able to get some projects in place in Knoxville County. Those projects are doing well. There are other counties that are considering this particular project. They are getting some resistance. Why? Because this is something new that has never been done in Mississippi. However, NovaSol has been making proper contacts with different people on different levels, trying to establish a connection and contact. And I'm a firm believer that if they're given an opportunity to put their product on the ground in Octavia County, then it will be very beneficial, short-term and long-term. And I'm excited to see, anxious to see, the long-term comparison to soil cement. If you can recall, some of y'all may not have been on the board, but I think in 2005, we were one of the first persons to encourage the use of soil cement in Octavia County. And I think it has done well, but it does have some challenges and it does have some issues as it relates to when the ground shifts and things like that. So I want to encourage the board to keep this project open. Attorney Robinson, let us know what we need to do to move it to the next step and keep this thing going in the right direction. But I really want to encourage y'all. Victor has some roads he's doing in y'all's district. I would like for y'all to consider, especially those roads where you don't have strict engineering oversight. And the reason why I say strict engineering oversight, if you want to get engineering oversight involved, then I have no problem with it. But I think it would be worthy for you to consider replacing at least a section that you're going to use with soil cement with the NovaSol base lock and surface shield technology. I'm confident that you will be well pleased with it. You can confer with Bruce Brooks in Knoxville County on a project that they did down there now, and they're also in the process of doing additional projects down there in the county. So that's my report, Mr. Chair, and I hope you all take it into consideration. We'll consider this particular project.
Supervisor Trainer, do you have any feedback on how much longer this product might extend the life of a road compared to I mean, it sounds very interesting, but I was just sort of wondering, do you?
Well, you have technology in other parts of the country.
Okay.
But now, if you want to compare apples to apples, this product has been put down in Knoxville County. It's been down in Knoxville County just about almost a year. And of course, you can go and reevaluate, you can go and evaluate it, you can go and look at the dynamics of it. And I know they're looking at doing another product. So that's why I would say comparing apples to apples, because I guess under all conditions, some things have some pluses and some things have some minuses. But one of the things I guess that has been a little different is that some of the engineers throughout the state of Mississippi, I guess, were skeptical. And I understand that, but The board was just as skeptical when we started using soil cement. There's not a product that we have started to use that somebody was skeptical with it. We used to use fly ash. Fly ash. We were real big on fly ash.
It came from Choctaw County,
Right.
that plant down
We had a supervisor that wanted us to use that product that's on some of those roads, not the clinker, but you call it, what was the product that Miss Miller got us, and we got a lot of stuff out.
there.
Block material. So what I'm saying is that the only way to find out if something is, you have to utilize and do your own comparison. Step out on faith on some of it and see exactly what it does. Now, I'm not saying you go and just buy a whole lot of it that's gonna put you in a bind because you got a product that you can't use. But at least find something that you can use and do a little pilot project somewhere and just do a comparison.
That's sort of the process I use with slurs. You know, so I'm saying
I had prepared an issue with funding, that's funding.
Well, of course, you all know that all my funding has been expired. And I wanted to ask the board today to issue some additional bonds. And I know y'all gonna laugh me out of the room, but here's my point. We can't issue additional bonds because we had to spend some of the bond money we got. Now, all my money has been gone.
I spent all mine.
Now, we still got some 24 money that was hanging around. So what I'm saying here, and I understand the thought pattern because you want to be very responsible and cautious of what you're doing. But the time value of money is eating us up.
What is the value of that? Which costs more, that or soil cement?
Well, based upon my understanding, soil cement.
Is there an annual maintenance cost with Novasoil? The stuff I've seen on this lane was $16,000 a year or 20. I think that maybe it's a new product. It was like a review period. They came in, and I'd be interested to go look at Knoxville if you and I could ride down there together one day.
But Novasoil, they're offering several different arrangements. They're offering some maintenance plans. They're even offering to put. If I can get the approval of the board today for me to authorize them to put the product down and do a deferred payment, I can get it done. And they'll wait to get their money whenever they get it. That's just how serious we are about it.
You and I ride to Knoxville one day?
Yeah, sure.
As I recall the circumstance, please, if I mess this up, the board attorney brief that the sole source aspects of the contract with the Novasoil involved them having to do all of the work and all of that kind of stuff. And we've kind of used a comparison to soil cement, but I don't think we can't just buy the Novasoil product and any contractor put it down. Is that correct?
You can't. See, the reason why the additional contractor came in is that because my presentation was the board members were concerned about us tying up the road department. So what we did, we went out and got a contractor who this contractor has a lot of extensive contractual work with Clay County.
Right.
And so we brought him in. He partnered with an Novasoil, and he's able to put the product down. He was the actual person who put the product down in Knoxville County.
But you could use a Novasoil as a substitute.
You could use a Novasoil as a substitute for soil cement.
That's what
and
I mean.
Mr. Collins can put it down.
Okay.
That's where we are right now because we need to get the product down. Any way I can come at y'all to get it down so the product can do what it needs to do, or don't do what it needs to do, then that's where I am. And if I was for the project, if I was against the project, I'd be for it because either it's going to do what it says it's going to do or it's not. We know it's all sitting in there.
And I think the holdup was the fact that we were wanting to use a sole source contractor as opposed to just using the product itself. I think that was where the objection was. Rob, am I missing?
Well, actually, it was twofold. There's actually other products out there that are similar to a Novasoil, so that sole source. But I've got an RFP that is probably going to have to be tweaked. It's not going to be the typical standard for the RFP, but we went ahead and put together one using some of the information that Novasoil gave me. I got it Thursday, I think, finally. And so we plugged that into this RFP. I mean, it's up to the board how they want to proceed with the issue.
I think the bottom line is, I don't think the board would have had any objection to you taking your funding and doing this project. I don't think so. I think that was sort of, I do remember some conversation about the contract, but I think when it all boils down, I don't think the board would have any issue whatsoever. Just like you all did with me when I said I wanted to use some slurry seal.
Well, see,
you got the money, go use it.
Well, see, this problem, all of our funds probably have been expired. So I'm encouraging one of you all to look at utilizing this on a project that you may have. I think we just talked about, now the project that Mr. Williams asked about with the change order, we can't do that because that's working specifically with people and all. And they've already contracted for solar season, so we can't do it with those. But if there's a project that Mr. Collins is working on, like Lean Lane, I think he's working on that one. So when we get ready to do Lean Lane, just use a Novasol. The product of Novasol. You don't have to use the contract, just use the product of Novasol and let their Novasol representative be on site to help them with the implementation of it.
Supervisor, I tell you what, if it's legal, I'd be willing to give you $50,000 to use in your district. If this is legal.
But now,
help you get
with what you got going, I don't mind.
Done.
Well, that's
All we have to do is
if it's legal.
put the RFP out and.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we issue RFP.
This is not
Issue an RFP.
I'd like to see the RFP before we.
It needs to be.
It needs to be, yeah.
So we basically need to, instead of doing a motion, we need to direct.
Yeah, I think that's the next step.
Correct.
Put together
To put
an RFP.
RFP.
Let me and Rob get it in compliance with procurement standards and.
Yeah, this was only,
That's no Pacific Road. No Pacific Road, that's no.
Well, we could insert the road, I guess.
Right.
We figure out what road, we just got to make sure the RFP done in such a way that we don't get come back on. But we could insert road and feet, and, the scope of work kind of thing.
Right. There's been motion by Supervisor Trainer to issue an RFP, based upon approval of the board. Second by Supervisor Williams.
Yeah, with no Pacific Road.
We're just developing RFP, and y'all, the road
It's a
to it.
development RFP.
Second by Supervisor Williams. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 4-1.
Also got a request to travel, and I want to encourage other board members who can. Y'all may have heard all the conversations surrounding data centers and Bitcoin. And I'm gonna be frank with you. There's a lot of good things that were coming in Arturo County. I was real excited before this administration. And I'm not saying anything negative about the current administration, federal administration, Trump administration, because prior to that, there were several sites in my district that were under consideration for solar. And I was anticipating those sites coming to fruition. And I was anticipating the county getting those tax dollars off those sites. And I'd already anticipated recommending some improvement on the roadways that were in those areas. Of course, that didn't materialize. Now the biggest thing that's out there that county is dealing with are data centers. There's a data center seminar workshop that's going to be convened in Jackson in September. I want to encourage some of the board members to go. The Mississippi Association of Supervisors, Bernard DeCarpus, which we support, they'll be one of the main coordinators of this, along with other persons of interest.
What's the date and location?
The date's going to be September the 15th and 16th. The location is going to be at the Westin, I think, Hotel in Jackson. And I think it's something that you really need to look at, because I know people say a lot of things about data centers, but here's what I look at it. I don't care if it's a landfill, a jail, any kind of development of any substance, somebody's going to be for it and against it. And it really just behooves you to do your due diligence. But with the growth of activity in our county, we're going to have projects like that and other projects out there that may be recreational large-scale projects. I'm just going to put it out there. That's looking at activity in our county. And so when these projects come, we're going to have to do something. And these are substantial projects that are coming. And then it really kind of hits you in the face when it impacts you personally. You know, when growth is going on out there in your area, and you go in and talk to a person about eminent domain or giving up a piece of signing a right of way for a bridge improvement or a Tom Bigby to come back, but when that thing sits in your lap and you got to sign the paper, you see what I'm saying? And somebody comes along and offers you some generational money, what you gonna do? And you looking at it saying, well, you know, I know people are talking about this, but these data centers, and when these people come for these large scale developments, and they come into these property owners, I mean, I had a property owner tell me, man, I don't like solar farm, I hate it, I don't like the Biden administration, but man, they offer me generational money. What are you gonna do? And so data centers got the deep pocket to come in and offer generational money to make a substantial change in our community.
Depends on your county and what you want to look like. I mean, I ride around Lowndes County and I see miles and miles of solar farms on the road to the eye, and they take away from the environment. And it's like, you know, I saw this week that Lowndes County's turned out, I think, 6 data centers to date, and it's like, what do you want? Do you want to be looking at, you know, they used to say cows were bad for the environment, and methane gas emitted by cows, and now it's data centers. Like, what do you want? Would you rather be looking at woods and trees and birds and stuff God created, or do you want fields and solar farm? I think that's a personal choice. You know, when you come to somebody getting off the money, I mean, I get what your point is. I don't know enough about them. I made some points that I had to retract because I was told by some of these small data centers aren't as bad to the environment as, you know, as
we got one already. We've been having one since 2014.
It's been running.
Nobody really realized this.
Didn't know.
Yeah, out
all they require for the capacity that we have a lot of, you know, I don't know. So I'm gonna go to the thing because do we have to have them for the AI coming up and all that just to produce the technology that we carry around in our hands every day?
And then when you talk about what happened just with the city with this Bitcoin deal, I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, just anything that's significant or large scale, you're going to have some resistance against it. And it's just, I don't care if it's building a super center. I mean, you talk about putting a strain on your current utilities and current water and stuff. Well, if you get another development, you compare it and you do this. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
Who's speaking at this? So they just got.
Well, they're going to be convening experts in that field. And I tell you, a county that data center that has probably one of the largest concentration, the guy he ran for third vice president, he didn't win. Loudoun County, Virginia. Now, Loudoun County, Virginia, they got a thing out there through NACO that tells you about, you know, white paper on data center. The do's, don'ts, best practices, and all this kind of stuff. And that's one of the benefits of being in NACO. These things like that, they got all the things in place that you need to kind of give you some guidance on how to do it. And they're also structuring some stuff. I think last year the legislature was trying to kind of get involved in it and kind of cut the counties out a little bit with some of the money. I don't think it passed, but we're probably going to try something again this year because there's so much money associated with it. So it's, and I think I was listening to some stuff that happened and reading it law that county. So.
Well, I was going to say, I know now in Mobile County over in Alabama, they did one. There was no negotiating with them. They said, with the data center, like they told them, you know, you have to do X, Y, Z, everything environmentally.
They told the data center.
They told the
county
data center. The county told the data center. You know, if you're coming here and you're getting no tax break, and you're getting none of the above.
It's very little long-term job creation.
Oh, no, not.
1-2 people.
Yeah, it's not long. But they did approve one, but they only approved it after they had like an extensive environmental study stuff, you know, that they did and make sure, but then tied that into their contract with them to where the environmental stuff had to be done ahead of time and, you know, all that, and zero taxes. And they had to come and, you know, everything. So that was kind of a test run, you know, to see. So I'm kind of waiting to see how that works out over there.
It's here. But anyway, I have a motion to attend that travel on the 15th and 16th for any supervisor and community county.
It's been a motion by Supervisor Train, second by Supervisor Little. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
I would remind the board, I don't have that schedule in front of me. Last week we established our budget hearing and passing process. I think the 15th is the day that we're going to pass the budget. But I have to go back. I'll send y'all an email
gotta have my stuff.
Maybe it was the 11th, then, I can't,
Yeah,
I just
I
wanna
gotta
go back,
have my
I just
stuff.
wanna go back and double check all of that, because I know that's right all up in that real busy time frame for us.
My stuff has to be handed to the tax assessor on the 15th. My tax bill.
Okay, anything else come from District 2? District 5? I don't have it. District 4? District 1? I don't have anything. Okay, now we're down to the final item on the agenda, and that's old business. Countywide road assessment scope approval.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this particular assessment scope for Pritchard Engineering.
And that was one for $10,000.
I'm not for sure about this.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been motioned by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Little. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, wastewater policy resolution. I don't know if, there needs to be some discussion on this.
We're available if you have questions.
Now, right here, number 2, is this a recommendation that says, oh, it's just talking about 2 options, right? Option B and A. Option, adopt the resolution.
In the feasibility study, the engineer came back with the recommendation to go with option B.
Okay, well, I make a
which
motion.
involved a distributed, plan, in each of the basins around the county. Clyde could describe it in more detail certainly than I can.
What you have before you is, again, a feasibility study where we've gone to the effort to figure out from an engineer's perspective, from a legal perspective, and to some point financially what y'all could do as far as wastewater in the county. Our request right now is, in Wayne's trying to get, working through his resolution adoption, but our request right now is for the board to authorize $150,000 for us to move forward and answer all these questions, to put definition to sites, to put definition to financing, to put definition to the legal pathways for proceeding. You know, feasibility, we presented something to you that we think can be done. Now we need to get down to the nuts and bolts to answer those questions. It's gonna take a little money and a little time to do.
Would there be any further financial obligation, if the board authorizes you and we get this document in place? Can we then take this document and go and secure funding?
We would look at funding opportunities for that. And as the project moves forward, as we identify a site or identify a treatment system or method for doing that, then there would be additional funding to come from some sort to actually do the engineering on that, to fund that particular project. Again, we're just trying to answer the questions right now to see, what it's gonna take to do this.
But this is just a feasibility study where you're trying to find out, is it feasible to do?
We have decided
But we're not gonna do like the adoption.
Feasibility
of
study
an
is done.
independent
This is
utility or
the-
anything.
The feasibility is done. What we feel like we come to the conclusion of is that it's going to require, at least in the interim, a bit of a hybrid approach, where you're going to continue to work with the city. You've got East Oxford wastewater district, something's got to keep those things alive for a while. But at some point, we want to investigate the county going into wastewater treatment business, pick those sites, and develop the financial model for making those feasible. Whether it's through the legislature, go through grant funding, whatever to do that. So, but the obligation now is for the 150 to answer some of these questions and come back with a model that says, we've investigated this further, here's what we can do, here's our recommendation for funding.
Well, the reality is we're trying to get the preventive maintenance versus reactive, but we're probably 10 years behind or more on this.
We're way behind.
Yeah, 30, but I mean, I always had a coach, I won't press this, but I had a coach in college that said, a bad plan is better than no plan at all, and I didn't understand that till I was, man, what he was saying is you gotta put something in writing and then you can tweak it. And I said, he said, you've got to set a goal before you know it, 5 more years has gone by. So this board's been very proactive, and this is probably one of the biggest steps we'll ever take. I don't think everybody in the room understands how
You've heard the term
tremendous this is.
several times this morning. I've heard the term generational. This is a generational year on perhaps this board. We're talking about working improvements that will far outlive me. And no disrespect, gonna outlive y'all too. And this, but you're talking about the old saying. The saying is, you can't get finished if you don't get started. And we're long behind getting started. And there's a lot of work gone in the feasibility study, Ms. Patty. We think we know how we want to do this. One of the questions to be answered still is, does the county get in treatment business? Or you mentioned, are we requiring folks to hook up? Are we requiring this? Are we going to be in a retail business for the sewer? Are we going to have buildings? Those are things that will be answered in this phase.
Just make it the finest of the state of Mississippi. People will look back on those in 50, 80 years when we're all gone and say they did the right thing at the right time.
And look, the study you've got is based off of data that's out there. Everything is, it's published or it's available online. It's accounts, and there's been conversations with MDEQ about allowable discharges and all that. But it's going to often work. And the best guess now may have a different look in 4 or 5 years.
And I wanted to just add one little thing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm worried about you when you get that thing.
Well, I told you I'm an engineer and I'm not an engineer. So when I read that, it was very, difficult. But I was thinking, and I have been, about it. And I do know that, we have like our landfill. It's a tri-county, it's a regional landfill.
Right.
And I know that we have a lot of, I don't know the technical term for it, but it's the sludge that comes out of sewage, and they gotta haul it off, and they gotta haul it to different places to have it treated and all the rest of that stuff. Is that something y'all might look at, or any kind of something to be built out there that would help take away that was out there, but also help, because it's out there on that end, it's not.
That facility is historically used a different engineering firm to develop all that. But yes, and it's not connected to this residential feasibility study. But I think that's another case. It's where it's grown to the point that through the life of the facility, things are showing up that need to be addressed right now.
I mean, a lot of money is, being spent to haul that off, and costs a lot. If it was if we were going to be doing something on that side, that end, could help some other counties too.
The supervisor trainer just talked about development in the county. That feasibility study has identified a couple of basins in the area. You saw language about blackjack and sessions in there. Truth of the matter is, we could have something come in tomorrow that changes that whole plan and says we need something in May. That could happen that quick. But, there'll be flexibility in here, but we got to start. We got to develop, what that model looks like, what the engineering looks like again, what the site might look like, what the legal pathway is, and what the funding is. So your obligation now, Supervisor Howard, is $150K for us to try to work that out.
And I was gonna add to too, the deliverables are very clear, the timeline is very clear. So it's an engineering report, approval for funding agencies like rural development or Appalachian Region, whoever it might be. And the time, so there's a definite deliverable and a timeline. It's not, it's very clear what you get in the end.
The good news is that we think because of the population in the county, the makeup of the county, that there's probably some excellent grant opportunities to help with the actual funding and the construction.
That's right.
Depending on where they're located. That's just the truth of the matter. So that's what we have.
And I think that's all with Maryland, and working on some grants.
And I will tell you, we have spoken to Maryland, it's been part of the conversation. We've spoken to the mayor, city of Starkville, we've spoken to MSU. We think we've got cross board support for moving forward with this. Got it with the problem.
I will say that I did, from the head person at MSU, that they think it's a good idea, and if any way they can help, they've offered to do so.
I suggested, Wayne and I have talked a little bit, should you move forward, which I encourage you to do. Maybe establish a point of contact. This is one of those things you don't want a lot of mixed messages going out on. So whether it's Wayne or whether it's our firm or whether it's someone that's probably good, the single source, you know, your media contact with that so that everybody stays on the same page. Because there's going to be a lot of questions.
I would just naturally lean toward the CAO being a point of contact, because he's got to understand the budget constraints and everything else, so.
And that's fine. I'm just saying
At this point, yeah, we're not talking about building sewer plants. We're talking about finishing a study. And he's done the feasibility study, he's considered several options. He's recommending that we further develop option B, which is a distributed system. And if y'all authorize him to do so, then the next phase will be for them to finalize this study based upon option B. Once he's finalized the whole thing in a set of deliverables that are usable for seeking grants and legislation and funding to move forward, this board would be asked to adopt it. In other words, you still you're not even adopting anything right now. All you're doing is doing further study. Once completed, you would be asked to adopt it as a comprehensive plan that allows us to then pursue funding through all the many streams that are out there. The Department of Agriculture, the state of Mississippi, the special corporations from, the feds.
And on the cards on the table, I mentioned last time, on the real calendar on this, we're trying to get to the point we can offer some information to the legislature in the next session.
I mean, I hear what Wayne said. I think right now, initially, the board is just trying to get comfortable with authorizing the initial funding.
That's right.
For this. But honestly, I do got a lot of questions. I mean, questions like, what are we going to do about Super 20 years down the road? What are we going to do about East West Water? Where are they falling? How long can we depend upon the city to pump, the university to pump our sewer?
That's part of what this does.
We talking about possible data centers that's gonna need sewer and water, and so there is a lot of lingering questions out there, how long is it gonna take to get this to the other side of the county so there's a lot of questions that I do have that maybe this study could put in one place and get us,
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put definition of what we think is feasible to be done in the county and answer those type questions.
So I guess the initial thing is the initial funding of $150,000 to general fund to do a study. Yeah. Motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Carter. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously.
Motion to adjourn.
Congratulations. Again, my phone is open. If y'all have these questions, if you think about these things, don't hesitate to call. We'll answer them. Thank y'all. Congratulations.
Motion by Supervisor Trainer to adjourn to the first Monday in September. September.
First Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Monday, later.
Monday.
I'll be.
I wouldn't mind.
All in favor? Okay. All in favor? Motion passed.
Hey,
Oh, yeah,